And we are live. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and or listening to ABL Live. Thank you for being here tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the whole wide world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over these internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I don't know where to start. First of all, the balloon is down. The balloon has been shot down. It took long enough, an entire week. It pretty much accomplished its mission. So what's the purpose of shooting it down now after it had already left the USA? After it's gone into the Atlantic Ocean? We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, you got the GOP members of the House doing some things, removing Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee. And AOC had a black preacher moment, a hooping pastor moment. So cringe, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, Ron DeSantis debuts the Stop Woke law, and part of this law made it to where a certain college course, what was that, AP Black History, got revised. Some say, oh, he hates Black history. No. It's like, wait a minute. Why are we learning about gender theory in a Black history class? Why are we learning about queer studies in the Black history class? How does one have anything to do with the other? We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Also, there's quite a few more things, quite a few more videos I'm gonna show you guys all on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you are hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. You guys are the best. Now, you guys are asking about Tim Pool and the quartering. I have no idea. I have nothing to do with that. I don't know anything about that. That's not my wheelhouse. I don't really want to get into like the YouTuber drama necessarily. The other guy who I won't mention, that kind of reached beyond YouTube. That's why I mentioned it. But that right there, what's the girl's name? The blue hair? I have no idea who that is. You know, if you show me a picture of her, if you had a gun in my head and say, hey, can you identify this person? Well, hey, man, you got to just go ahead and let it go, man. Let it fly. Let it fly, because I don't know who that person is. Okay, so I don't know anything about that. But anyway, thank y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you're hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Shout out to the sponsors, of course. Y'all know how I do. Shout out to me. And my website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. If you go to the front page of the website, I always have articles for each video that I produce. And in the articles, you'll see sources for whatever I say. So if you ever have a question like, hey, ABL, where'd you get that tidbit from? Where'd you get a little snippet of information? Go to the website. Everything will be right in front of you. Again, AnthonyBLogan.com. Also go to the contact page, AnthonyBLogan.com/contact. You can find my email address, my snail mail address, my social media accounts, my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff right there on the contact page of the website. Again, AnthonyBLogan.com/contact. Everything is right there. Also, what else we got? ABLmerch.com. We got the hats, the I Survived the Pandemic hats. We got hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, mugs, and more right there on the website, ABLmerch.com. Y'all check it out. And of course, your best source of news and information is patriotpost.us. Their link, as always, will be in the description. Everything I'm talking about right now will be in the description. Also, if you want to hear this podcast, which is a podcast right now, if you're watching right now live on the YouTubes, thank you for that. I appreciate you. But if you want to hear this in the audio only form tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on all streaming platforms, or on the most streaming platforms, Google Play, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. Link for that will be in the description box. Or just go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Okay, so we got a few things happening here. I'm gonna get to the balloon in a little bit. I'm gonna get to the balloon in a little bit. And before I get to the balloon, I just want to say this about the story. That story has been dominating the news. I mean, good night. Is there no other story? But I ain't gonna lie, I've been captivated to a certain extent. Not really like watching it 24/7, but right when they popped it, I was watching it happen live. So I was like, okay, finally they did something after forever in a day. But I'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. But that story's been dominating the news. However, there are other stories that have happened in the meantime. There are other stories, and I think one of them was this whole thing about Ron DeSantis and the woke college course. Now, there was some heat going towards Ron DeSantis' direction because he had signed into law the Stop Woke Act. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's Stop Woke, not a Stop Woke law because it's law. So I'm going to just read some of this from the ACLU, and we know how the ACLU is. Let's not donate to them. Hold on. So they have a little article here. Lessons learned from our classroom censorship win against Florida Stop Woke Act. So they probably were suing them and whatnot. Let me see here. Here's something that I just found on Google right quick. I'm gonna just read a little piece of this. Like the Stop Woke Act, other classroom censorship laws are vulnerable to challenge our constitutional viewpoint-based restrictions. The Stop Woke Act limited instruction to viewpoints that legislature agreed with, even with those viewpoints contradict research, academic scholarship, and foundational understandings of academic disciplines. Basically, what the Stop Woke Act did was prevent some of the ridiculous stuff from being taught to your children. An example would be this whole thing about the Black History AP college course. Now, as I said in the video, the College Board, which is a not-for-profit organization, it's not a generic name. It's a real organization, a nationwide organization. They wanted to test, keyword test, is always, okay, let's test this on them. They wanted to test some new things in the Black History AP course in college. And some of their tests included inserting really hot button leftist political stuff, all leftist. And the whole thing is from DeSantis, from the state of Florida, it's like, okay, if you want to put some leftist stuff in there, let's have a counterbalance. Let's have some conservative stuff in there too. It can't just be all left political current stuff. And why do you have left political current stuff in the Black History course? What does that got to do with it? If you're going to talk about Black history, let's go back to slavery, or you can go back to the continent. Let's talk about Reconstruction, Harlem Renaissance, Great Migration. Let's talk about all that kind of stuff. Maybe even the Barack Obama, first Black president, quote unquote. Talk about stuff like that. Don't talk about gender queer theory. What's that got to do with Black history? I'm not the kind of guy that needs to learn about Black history in college. I've learned a lot about that when I was a kid. When I was a little boy, I got taught a lot about Black history from my dad, from people in my family. That's taught me about Black history because they're really involved in the civil rights movement and whatnot. Because my dad and them, they were like teenagers in the 70s. So they were really around that whole thing. But I knew about all of that kind of stuff people talking about now when I was in elementary school. So I wouldn't go to college to learn things I learned when I was 8 years old. But anyway, if I was in the market to learn more about Black history, what I don't want to learn about is queer theory. What's that got to do with it? Now, if I want to learn about queer theory, then I'd take a queer theory class or some kind of LGBT class if I was into that. Not my prerogative, not my particular lane I want to be in, but if I wanted to do that, I would do that. But I don't want to, it's like, and take Black history out of it. If I'm in AP math, why am I learning about gender theory in AP math? What does it got to do with AP math? Okay, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. Okay, numbers, addition, subtraction, fractions, not talking about some bedroom action. I don't want to hear about that in that context. It's simple. So the Stop Woke Act, now law, prevents that kind of stuff from being inserted into the curriculum. But of course, if you're watching MS-13 DNC, CNN, CBS. If you watch them, they'll have you believe that DeSantis hates black people and he wants to strip away black history. No. Actually, even some of the wokesters probably like what he's doing by having the Black History course focus on black history and not LGBT. And furthermore, here's something else that I don't like that the left does. I don't like the left always trying to make quote unquote minorities, meaning non-white. I don't like try to make minorities and LGBT be the same thing. I don't like that at all because we're not the same. They try to say things like, civil rights in the 60s, we're going through that right now because we're trying to get married. We're trying to get rights like you guys. We face discrimination. We're getting killed. It's like, no. Check it out. If you're LGBT, I have nothing against you. Nothing against you. I got family members as LGBT and I love them. No hate towards a person because they're LGBT. However, to compare LGBT and minority, not the same. When I get up every day in the morning, this is me, right? I'm ABL, I'm a black guy. This is me every day. If you get up in the morning, if you're LGBT, you could choose to engage in that kind of lifestyle or not. Now, you might not want to choose, but you can choose if you like. You have the ability to choose if you like. I can't. This is me. Furthermore, were your great grandparents also LGBT? Were they sold into slavery? Were they sold by their African brothers and sisters in Africa and brought over here and endured like a whole big thing? Did that happen? Like, I don't think so. There's no family history, no lineage, none of that. It's just an issue that you may be going through if you're LGBT. And I understand your particular issue, but it's isolated. Whatever you're going through is nowhere near the same as what a person that is a minority or just a different race is going through, just because you feel like you are a smaller group. Everybody has their own challenges. And a lot of that comes from their previous family members, their current situation. I'm not really trying to hear anything about the comparison, but always the left want to put minority, LGBT, disabled. It's like, well, okay, like I'm black, not I'm not wheelchair bound. And quite frankly, somebody that's wheelchair bound has a much more difficult time in life than I do. If you don't have control over your legs, you might not be fully able. I have more of an ability to move around and get things done than you do. I'm not trying to say that as a flex. I'm just saying, if you're going to be playing Victim Olympics, let's talk about it in a serious way, not in a way that's just kind of ridiculous. And let's not try to link everybody together. Let's not do that, because when you do that, it just gets weird. But anyway, I digress. They want to have the LGBT and the minority together. I hate that. And they try to do it in a variety of ways. When they have Black History Month commercials, they want to highlight LGBT. If you watch some, maybe even on YouTube or other platforms, they'll have like a highlight for Black History Month or something like that. And in that highlight, it won't be me. It'd be YouTubers that got like 10,000 subs who happen to fit certain criteria. LGBT, disabled, woman. They want to put all these check marks in there to have that person be the face of quote unquote blackness, because they see a minority as some kind of deficiency. Then they say people on the right are the racists for not seeing people that are minority, non-white that way. So if you don't see a minority as somehow being deficient because of their skin color, you're the racist. If you see everybody as the same, all as human beings, and you hold everybody to the same standard, you're racist for that. But how is that a racist thing? Isn't that what we should do? Hold everybody to the same standard. Don't give anybody any special kind of breaks. As long as you're not mentally challenged, like legitimately, hold everybody to the same standard. Isn't that the way that it should be? I guess not on the left. But again, they'll say you're the racist for that. So I'll go ahead and digress. Oh yeah, that's something else exotic. Yeah, and they even try to link the LGBT and minority together when talking about the visual representation, like the LGBTQ elemental P flag that has the black and the brown in it, right? They got black and brown trans, Ukraine, all type of stuff. I mean, everything in that flag. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. And like I said, if somebody's LGBT, that's their business. I don't really particularly care too much. But come on, man. Why put the whole black and the brown? And again, that whole black and brown thing I hate. Because last time I checked, I don't know about y'all, but last time I checked, I look more like the brown. And I'm actually lighter than that brown right there on the screen. I'm not even no chocolate candy bar brown, but I'm definitely not this black either. My shirt might be closer to that black, but I'm not black like that. I'm black, quote unquote, like racially, but I'm not black skin color. I'm a brown. But then they'll say, if you are Hispanic, Mexican, or some kind of other non-white, then you're brown. It's not even accurate. It's just things we make up in society. And people are so obsessed with race. Race is always brought up at inappropriate times when it doesn't even matter, when it's just kind of ridiculous and dumb. People get offended and they want to fight over it. And I think that's part of the way that they kind of keep us bickering and arguing about things that are kind of insignificant. You see what I mean? So that's what that is. But yeah, shout out to everybody that understands where I'm coming from about the whole LGBTQ thing. And shout out to DeSantis for the Stop Woke Act. We need that nationwide. We need it nationwide, K through 12, college, all that stuff. Because if you got kids, they're in school, K through 12 or in college, and they're learning about things that are not relevant to the subject matter. It's like, okay, your kid is in AP history and they're learning about 1619 Project, Nicole Hannah Smith, or Ta-Nehisi Coates, reparations, stuff that is really irrelevant to the conversation. Now, if you're in a class where that's the subject matter specifically, that's different. But if you're in a history class and they're bringing up propaganda with no counterbalance, and you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if there was a counterbalance to all this stuff. So you got to have the left and the right, not just left with no right. One side of the argument with no other side of the argument. And like reparations, it's just like Ta-Nehisi Coates, one book, but there's nothing else to say anything else. There's no other opinion about it because ultimately it's an opinion. There's no law that's been proposed, nothing on the books. You'll have people like Gavin Newsom try to propose some stuff in California, but we know what that's for. That ain't nothing but a political not even a promise, a political expectation that probably won't happen. And we know that it's to get him some brownie points, pardon the use of the term, but to get him some clout for the next election in 2024, because they're going to get Biden out of there. Biden pretty much has 2 feet in the grave. Okay. No threat, CIA, FBI, federales listening to me. I want Biden to live forever. I want Biden to become a 1,000-year-old man. Hopefully he's able to walk around just fine, but no threat. Anyway, they know Biden's pretty much done. They're throwing him away already. That's why they got all these quote unquote classified documents coming out. They know he's finished. So they want to move forward in 2024 with Gavin Newsom. And they tell him, hey man, check it out. You have a very big platform in California. Do some things that are going to gain you some favor, not only among the blacks, but really among your liberal base. Because a lot of things they do that they say, quote unquote, help black people are to impress non-blacks, like a lot of your white liberals in California. That's what they do that for. That's really what it is. Not even about anybody. And they'll just propose it. They don't have to actually do it. As long as they propose it and put it out there, that's enough. That's all they want. Because people that are, the wokesters are the people that are like this kind of idea of reparations the most will be the ones that don't need it, because they don't care if it actually happens, which it won't, but they don't care. As long as say you're going to do it and you support it, then they'll be like, okay, cool. And the people that are proposing this stuff know that about these people. So there's no expectation of actually following through on the promise. All they got to do is promise it or propose it or suggest it or lead with it, and then they'll get success that way. So when they get elected and they didn't do it, there's nobody there to hold them accountable, because people that voted for them on that expectation don't really care about the outcome. And then those who probably would need it, didn't even really know about it. And they didn't have a say in the matter to even try and step to the man and ask. It's a cold world, but I see these patterns happen. I'm getting old. I know I'm not even 40 years old yet. The reason why I got the gray beard, aside from it's hereditary. My dad's side of the family, they gray like this. Aside from the hereditary factor, I think it's because I'm getting so old. I done seen so many patterns, and at a certain point, you kind of get jaded with certain things. It's like, man, I'm not even surprised anymore. Like, I don't want to go down that road. I might do that on a separate channel. I've watched quite a few videos of just human behavior, how people act, and I see patterns. So I'm not surprised anymore at certain things. But I digress. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. I almost had a Jordan Peterson moment. I almost went down this deep, dark rabbit hole. I was going to be lost forever. Like when that movie Get Out, falling down into this deep, dark abyss. I was about to be there right quick, but I had to get up out of there. Alrighty. Yeah, but DeSantis, I think, hold on. James M says DeSantis, they showed a video of his hand gestures next to a video of Donald speaking. Exactly same hand gestures, choreographed. Now, you see, James, I'm going to be very polite in my rebuttal to you. You see, DeSantis has always done that. There's also a video of him, there's videos of him from 2014 before Trump became even a nominee of him speaking the exact same way. Speaking the same way, talking the same way, everything. That's just how he does. Some guys do talk like that. And isn't he Italian, DeSantis? Isn't that where their name comes from? Let me make sure that I'm saying the right thing here. And at a certain point, people do that. Hold on, let me just make sure. Yeah, he's Italian. All his great grandparents are born in Italy, and they're originally from L'Aquila, Benevento, Avellino, and Campobasso. Like, he's Italian. They came to the U.S. in the 1900s. I mean, and they talk like that. You ever seen Italians, like a bunch of Italian uncles and pops talking? Hey, I'm walking here. That's how they are. So, and no Andrew Cuomo. I ain't trying to make an excuse for nothing else. What did Cuomo say when he got caught? Hey, I'm not a predator. I'm Italian. What you want me to do, huh? Yeah. So, I mean, that's just him. It just so happens that Trump does a lot of the same thing. But what I haven't seen DeSantis do is that handshake that Trump does, like where he shakes you and like pulls you in like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. I've not seen that one. But the talking with the hands, I mean, he does that. A lot of Italians, they do that. He probably got that from his pop and his daddy and everybody else. That's just, it is what it is. So yeah, shout out to all the Italians all day long. All right. Hey, I love pizza rolls, all that good stuff. So shout out to y'all. Yeah, and Trump, New Yorker. But, New York, a lot of Italians. That's just, Ellis Island. Shout out to Ellis Island. Here's a good question from TJ Jizzle. She asked me, what is your opinion about Kamala Harris attending the Tyree Nichols funeral 30 days after his death? Was it to gain points with the black community? Is she running? Well, I think Kamala Harris is doing what she was hired to do as a vice president, which is to show up for black-centered things. And what I mean by that is anything where they want, like, okay, for like when somebody black dies and it's a big news story, they're going to send out, the usual suspects, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Ben Crump, Lee Merritt, all these ambulance chasers, old con artists, FBI snitch grifters, racial provocateurs. They'll send them out there. So, hey, send Kamala Harris out there. That'll make everybody feel good. Go hang out with the family, take selfies, and right back to D.C. That's how she gets activated. Because aside from that, you really don't see Kamala Harris. She'll do black-centered things. If they have an event at the White House where there's a bunch of black folks or any kind of minority, she can be there, okay? Because let's not forget, she's also red dye Indian. No disrespect to all the Indians. Shout out to all the Indians out there. But she's also got a mom that is Indian. So if there's ever any kind of, which I got, Diwali or whatever that is, I don't know. Y'all please forgive me. Anything dealing with minorities, she'll show up. That's her role. So his funeral, no difference. No difference at all. Okay, if it's anything dealing with Hispanics or whatever, but if there's anything important, they'll bring Joe Biden out there. They'll bring Joe Biden out there for things that are kind of more important. But they are both kind of not very good on the microphone. Kamala Harris is a little bit better than Joe Biden, although she's not very good. But Joe Biden, Kamala Harris is just she's not a very good orator in general, but Joe is just 80,000 million years old. Joe is as old as time. Joe is as old as dirt itself. Methuselah from the Bible. He is a fossil walking and talking. Okay. That's what Joe Biden is. So that's why he's not a very good orator. During his prime, like 100 years ago, when he was first elected into the Senate, he was much better. He was much better. Her dad, is her dad Indian as well? Okay. Her dad could be Indian. I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is, we know that her dad is from Jamaica, but that doesn't mean he's not Indian, because there's a lot of Indians in Jamaica, just like there's also Chinese in Jamaica, whites in Jamaica. So you could be right about that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I have not been able to confirm it, so I can't say that's 100. That's totally right. Her dad's Jamaican, yeah, but Jamaican, that's like being an American. You could be a different thing. Like you could be an American citizen, but your parents came from India. You see what I mean? So we dealing with ethnicity and also nationality at the same time. All right. And people think that if you're Jamaican, you're automatically black. That's not true. Sean Paul, the rapper, he's actually half Chinese. I think his mom is like Chinese and white or something like that. It's crazy. Have you ever heard of a white Jamaican? They exist. Chinese, Indian, all of that. It's a Caribbean. But obviously it's mostly going to be black. That doesn't mean it's going to always be black. All right. When did I get so gray? I just said it earlier. It's hereditary. But also because I get crazy, ridiculous questions like, hey, when'd you get gray? Hey, you know what? If I could tell you the answer to that question, I would have all the lottery numbers. I'd win all the scratch offs and everything else. It's just part of the family. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, I know what to do. Please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Also, let's talk about AOC having the woke preacher type meltdown. Did you guys see that? I'm getting to the balloon in a minute. I got time. I'm going to get there a little bit later. Y'all please bear with me. But have you guys seen the whole thing with the AOC meltdown? Or the AOC, how can I say, the AOC black preacher imitation, I guess you would say? Barack Obama also did stuff like that, but the thing about Obama, he was much more smooth. He was better trained than the AOC. AOC is just kind of cringe. Okay, Obama was more smooth with it. That's why Obama was so loved and revered, is because of how smooth he was. Smooth operator, tall, quote unquote, handsome guy. He could but AOC just a cold goofball. But anyway, so Ilhan Omar, one of her squad members, was removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee because of some anti-Semitic remarks. Some things she said, we know. It's all about the Benjamins. Some people did something. We know kind of what Ilhan Omar is. She is a racist, not really a fan of America, really shouldn't be here. Kind of a sleeper cell, in my humble opinion. But anyway, we know who Ilhan Omar is. She shouldn't really be in Congress, but that's a different story. And for now, I digress. So when Ilhan Omar was removed from her committee seat, not all of her committee seats, she's on other committees, by the way, Ilhan Omar is, but they removed her from the Foreign Affairs Committee, which it makes sense, because if you got somebody like that on the Foreign Affairs Committee and you go on and speaking to different nations, it's like, well, what are we doing? What's going on? First, I'm going to show you Rashida Tlaib. That's also a squad member. And let's see what her reaction was to Ilhan Omar being removed. Now, apparently, before I say anything, let's just roll it. Then we get to AOC after that. Let's get some sound and not pierce your eardrums. All righty, let's go ahead and get it rocking and rolling.
Censor Congresswoman Omar in the same week. They introduced a bill to ban federal employees from engaging in censorship. Where are the free speech warriors today? The hypocrisy is obvious to the American people. You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Omar will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
To Congresswoman Omar,
the gentlewoman's time has expired.
That our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong.
The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and the gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
Now, that was supposed to be some crying, but I don't know about y'all. But I was struggling, and I was in Struggleville trying to find a tear. And again, like I said in the video that I did earlier in the week, this is a low quality video, obviously. It's not super HD, 4K, etc. But the tears are not really available. Let's check it out one more again.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
That our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong.
The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and
I'm hearing a screeching voice, but do I see tears? I don't know. I don't know if I see that. It's so classic. I hate, one thing I don't like is when people fake cry. It's like, if you're going to cry, go for it, for real, man. I want to see boo-hooing. I want to see you falling on the floor, rolling around like somebody just died in front of you. I want you to really go hard. A funeral cry. Okay, that's what I want to see. That's not really convincing, ma'am. I'm not moved at all. I'm kind of like low-key laughing at that. So, yeah, that was a whole big mess. Yeah, they're always on. That's how they operate over there on that particular side. And it's like I said, it is cringe for sure. So that was Rashida Tlaib, one of the squad members, reacting to Ilhan Omar being removed from her committee. And it was just one committee. Like I said, she's on other committees, just not on that particular one. But they got to go through this whole rigmarole, dog and pony acting to make it look like they are so distraught, because that's just part of the game. Now, here is your homie AOC, and she's giving you the best black preacher, guest speaker type of performance. This right here, if you've not cringed before in your lifetime, get ready, because the cringe is upon us. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Thank you. Now, as a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a...
It's bouncing and stuff like that. I've seen that before in church. Well, I'm going to tell you today. It's like, AOC, please stop. This ain't Church of God in Christ, Tabernacle, Stand Up, Rock and Shout Baptist Church of Southern Alabama. This ain't that. You are in the House. You are in Congress in D.C., and you're not some hooping preacher. You are Sandy Cortez, the bartender. Let's just come back to reality. You got a split personality going on. Like, who is this person doing the black, all that? We don't need all that right now, AOC.
A member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes, and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
But why throw it on the ground? Can you pick it up a little bit? Can you because, you know, I'm getting kind of triggered. Like, I got a little bit of, I'm kind of a neat freak. Stuff on the ground, I don't really like too much. Get that little binder off the floor, please. All that right there was cringe. Like,
threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus.
And the thing is, it's like you're not even really expressing yourself eloquently. If you're going to do the whole black preacher thing, then you got to be able to just to kind of breeze through it. You know, you got to breeze through it. It can't be all this disjointed kind of stuttering and stammering. That's not really the way that it should go at all. But that's what she did.
Rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about
like this, all this head shaking. It's like, ma'am, why did you do that? Who said to you, AOC, that would be a good way to express yourself? I understand the whole thing about trying to go viral, trying to get clicks, trying to get a bunch of people to interact with your media. I mean, I'm watching it. It got a lot of views, but not for the right reasons. You see what I'm saying? I am hate watching this. I'm watching it to laugh at it and to criticize it. I'm not watching it because I'm really being inspired at all. And that's probably half of the views right there. But I guess the whole thing is you want publicity, whether it's good or bad. I don't know, but that's pretty terrible. Okay. That's pretty terrible. Yeah, a bunch of body language. You make all this extra body language happen because you have empty words. A lot of times, that's usually how that goes. Oh yeah, and then also the salute of the funny mustache guy. I forgot about that part.
Don't tell me.
So what's all this? You know, just to stick it out a little bit further, flat hand, and then that'd be the salute right there. All right. So cringe, but that's her. She's done this a little bit though. I can't remember what she did last time, but she was using like the black scent. I was like, what are you doing? Just be yourself. My advice, Uncle ABL chiming in here. My advice to anybody, Sandy, anybody out there in YouTube land watching me right now or on your podcast, audio only, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Just be yourself, because this right here, trying to be a person that you're not, is just cringe, and it doesn't do anything to help anybody. It's just cringe. That's pretty much what it is. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. St. Andrew says, "Hey woman, do I have a witness?" Oh my goodness, ridiculous. Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that on my C-SPAN. I don't want to see no fake black preacher that's really an Hispanic girl from the Bronx that used to be bartending like 3 years ago. I don't want to see that on my C-SPAN. I want to see regular people, suit, tie, talking about boring, mundane things. I don't want to see this ridiculous song and dance, dog and pony show. Don't want to have it. All right. Do I have more videos for you guys? I know I do. We're going to get to the balloon thing in a minute. And like that whole balloon thing has been dominating the news, like for real dominating. That's why they've been talking about balloon. And I understand why they've been talking about the balloon, because at a certain point, it's like, it's embarrassing that we can't do anything, or that we didn't do anything in the appropriate amount of time. It's very, very embarrassing. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, because I've been jumping at the bit to get to this one. So the Chinese spy balloon, the weather balloon, whatever they want to call it, has been shot down from the sky off the coast of South Carolina. Now, this whole thing is ridiculous. And before I get into it, we have a crystal clear video of the actual balloon attack, I suppose. So let's go ahead and put it on the screen. It might not be any sound. Let's see if there is. So you see it right there. And then boom, it gets exploded. And you see like the payload or the sensors, whatever that is right there, just shooting straight to the ground. Now, they shot this down with fighter jets, or at least I think there was 2 jets up there. I'm not sure if it got shot by 2 or shot by 1, but there was at least 2 jets that were up there and it shot it. At its height, I'm not sure where it was in that video right there, but at its height, it was at 66,000 feet. Your commercial airlines fly at about 36,000 to 42,000, but right around, you hear them on the intercom. We're at 33,000 feet. Please put your seatbelts on. Maybe a little bit of rough air. We'll be at Atlanta, Georgia in 1 hour and 45 minutes. Y'all sit back and relax. But this was much higher than that, obviously. And it was big. They said it was the size of, like the actual balloon inflated was the size of 3 buses. I guess the diameter of 3 buses, not because it's not, but anyway, you understand what I'm saying? About 3 buses, and the payload, the sensors, whatever that was, hanging up underneath it was the size of a Mack truck or 1 bus. So the whole thing was pretty big, and it was flying pretty high. Now, what China said was this. What China said was, oh, well, it's not a spy balloon, it's a weather balloon. And it got off track. And it just happened to fly into U.S. airspace because of the west winds, trade winds, or whatever. It's like, no, because let's do a little bit of geography here. You know, I'm a nerd, right? I'm a big nerd. Shout out to all the nerds out there. Yeah, I'm the kind of guy. I'm gonna tell you how much of a nerd I am. I'm the kind of guy that does the map quizzes. It's his quiz you can take on the internet, free quiz about labeling countries without the country labels on it. I do that for fun when I have a little bit of free time. I'm that much of a nerd, so I know a little bit about geography and where countries are. Okay, so let's look at a map right quick. Okay, let's look at a world map. Can we get a globe, perhaps? A Mercator projection would be fine. We don't need a globe really. This will do. Well, no. Hold on. I do want a globe. Yeah, let's do Google Earth, shall we? Matter of fact, hold on. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, perfect. All right. I just can't have anything else pop up. So here's a globe. This is an interactive globe with Google Maps, right? Now, China is over here, okay? China's over here. They call that the Far East, I suppose. Now, Beijing, Shanghai, like most of your population was right over here on the East Coast, okay, of China. You got Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, all that over here. So in order for a balloon to come from China and go to Antarctica over here in the Aleutian Islands, it has to go up. Not just vertically, but horizontally. You understand? So it has to go north. Not just up in the sky, but north as far as on the actual globe. So check it out. It has to come from Beijing, Shanghai. Let's say it came from Shanghai, right? So it probably won't go through Russia because up here is Russia. It probably won't go through Russia, North Korea, or nothing like that. It'll probably go out this way beyond Japan, not through the Sea of Japan, probably around Japan. So it's a very specific trajectory. It'll probably go around Japan or through South Korea, Japan, through the Sea of Japan. It'll go around that way, okay, and all the way up here. You see? So it's not as simple as, oh, it just went straight across that way. It went up this way to the Aleutian Islands and then went into Alaska and then went down. I said Antarctica. Who said Antarctica? I'm tripping. Antarctica. Who's talking about Antarctica? I know I didn't say that. It's going to Alaska. Maybe I said Antarctica by mistake. The Aleutian Islands right here to Alaska. It's going through Alaska, through Canada, and then down to Montana. And then people saw it in Missouri. People saw it in North Carolina. Okay, all the way down here. They saw it like all the way over there. And then it came out like this way through South Carolina. Myrtle Beach is right here, so it got shot down right here. So how did it come from Beijing all the way through Aleutian Islands, Alaska, through Canada, through Montana, and out South Carolina if it was just a mistake and it was an accident. I mean, let's be for real. It doesn't make any sense. And there was another balloon down in Central America. Another balloon down here. Okay. So what are we doing? Obviously, this was done on purpose. If all the jet stream, or is that what it did? Okay, so the other one that was down here for all the jet stream too. So you just happen to have two balloons simultaneously just up at the same time in different parts of the world, both from China. We know what it was. So was it in Russia as well? Okay, interesting. I think I would thought they would have went around. Anybody that's flat earthing, please stop. We're not even going to do this today. Anybody that's flat earth, I got one question. Okay. You know what? I'm not even going to do this. I'm not going to do this thing with the flat earthers. Let's please stop. I'm not even going to do this today. But it's not flat. I promise it's not. It's really not. But anyway. So my question is, how was it an accident? It was not an accident. It was remote steering. Wow, I said Antarctica, that's crazy. Yeah, Antarctica, that's like the big piece at the bottom of the globe, what they call the South Pole. And the North Pole is no land, it's just ice. So yeah, it was steered, and then they had to ascend to that height. It was at a very high height, 66,000 feet, higher than most of your commercial airlines would ever fly. You're not going to go that high in the airplane. That's just what it is. So this was done on purpose. And some may say, oh, it's not really a big deal. First of all, it is a big deal because China, they're trying to build their weapon systems. They're trying to get everything upgraded. So if they can find any kind of information that you would get by sending a spy balloon over us, it's very important. When a spy balloon went up in the sky in China, we saw it. We already saw it. So at that point, it should have been, as soon as we saw it, it should have been on alert. When it left China, higher alert. Once it gets to Aleutian Islands, shoot it down. Because Aleutian Islands and Antarctica, you're still out in the Pacific, essentially. It might crash into the islands, but there's nobody out there in Aleutian Islands. It's uninhabited. You can shoot it down and it's fine. So if you're going to shoot it down in the water, why not shoot it down in Alaska rather than waiting to get to South Carolina off that coast? You could have shot it down in Montana as well because the payload went straight down to the ground. It's easy to go ahead and just hit it and it just dropped like a rock. It's not going to like be an asteroid where it's all over the place. You can't predict it. It's going to hit the ground straight away. So what was the point of talking about, oh, we can't shoot it down right now because it's going to endanger people? Man, ain't nobody out there. Just shoot it down. And then if you shoot it down over land, which you could have done in Montana or in Canada or in Alaska, if you shoot it down and it hits land, it's going to shatter in a million pieces. It's going to shatter regardless. If you shoot it down over water, it's going to shatter because it's so high up in the sky. The impact will break it. It doesn't matter if it's water or not. It's still going to break because of the impact. And it definitely broke in South Carolina because you're by the coast, it's shallow water. Even if it wasn't shallow, it doesn't matter. It's still going to break. But anyway, when it hits the ground, it's going to shatter, but you can recover the pieces easier because it's not in the body of water. But if it hits the water and shatters, you got the water to deal with, ocean currents, wind, cold, plus the salt water is going to corrode that metal instantly. Instantly, it's going to corrode right away. So you're not going to be able to recover anything. If you're trying to recover the payload, trying to recover the sensors or whatever from the spy balloon, you're not going to be able to do it. I think this was done as just, it was done to pacify the public. If we didn't see the balloon, if we don't have these high-powered cameras, like a lot of the stuff that you see, Like this picture right here. Oh, let me go back to it right quick. This picture right here, that could have been captured with a Samsung camera phone. With a Samsung S23 Ultra. That could have been captured with that. If we didn't have this powerful technology down here on Earth to be able to see this thing, it would have been just say, oh, it's just something. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. And it probably wouldn't even been addressed. But since we saw it and made a bit think about it, then they had to do something. But if not, they wouldn't have done anything. But regardless of what, they still allowed it to complete the mission. It went throughout Alaska, Aleutian Islands in Alaska. It went through Canada, and then it went through the United States. Unbothered. So, like, what are you going to do? And I think what's going to happen is they are going to send more of these, they're going to send more of these balloons out there. And also, here's something else. How do we look to the whole world? How do we look? When we just allow stuff like this to happen, the whole world's like, hey, man, y'all let that balloon just fly across from China. You didn't do anything. If we didn't shoot it down, then we could have said, oh, it was no big threat. It was a spy balloon. We're not going to damage it. But you shot it down. Shooting it down is an admission that it was something that shouldn't have been there. Shooting it down is an admission that you should have shut it down earlier, right when you saw it off the coast of Canada, off the coast of Alaska, Aleutian Islands. Shoot it down right there so it didn't go any further. So you don't go over the ICBMs and the nukes and all that kind of stuff that we have in the United States, that we have in Montana specifically. It went right to Montana. They could have sent that a different way. They could have sent it like over California. They could have done anything like that, but they went to a very specific place because they knew what was right there, and they wanted to get a better look. And it makes us look weak. You see, they're playing politics with us. They're playing games with us, and we're not really responding. I think that we let them do that because we allowed it to happen because we don't really want to. Not provoke China. That's the wrong word because provocation would mean that they didn't do anything to us. And that's not the case. We don't want to fight back, essentially, off of a thing that we see as not really that bad. We only fight back if they were to just put boots on the ground. But really, in many ways, China is destroying us. TikTok, in many ways, is destroying the youth because of the way the platform is very addicting, and they put all kind of propaganda on there. Okay, that's TikTok, and then they have they flood us with opiates in different ways, digital opium through social media apps like TikTok, and then they flood us with the fentanyl. It's like revenge for the opium wars back in the day with was it Kingdom of Great Britain? It's like revenge for that. You flooded us. You guys in the West flooded us with these drugs. Now we're giving it back to you. And it's like, what are you going to do? We're relying upon China. They make everything for us. I'm talking about everything, not just electronics. I'm talking about medicine, everything they make. We don't make anything here in the U.S. Well, I'm not going to say we don't make anything, but we don't make what we should make here in the U.S. A lot of that is driven by profit of big corporations, also by the green energy scam. When people say we got to have green energy and we got to shut down certain manufacturing facilities to achieve it, all that they do is go overseas and make things there. So the very same factory that was here, that was maybe a pollutant to a certain extent, but not that bad of a pollutant, goes to China where there's no standards. You could just do whatever you want. So that factory becomes more of a pollutant, and that same carbon, that same whatever dirt goes right up in the air that we all breathe. So if carbon emission is a problem, then why isn't it a problem when it goes to China and India rather than the USA? Is it only a problem in one country, not in other countries? Do we not share the same atmosphere, the same ozone layer, the same everything? I mean, at a certain point, people just do dumb things. They say dumb things. And then we got to deal with the consequences here. We don't have jobs the way we should. If you don't have high skills, if you're not up to date constantly, it's going to be rough. it's going to be rough. So yeah, but everything is made in China. So then when they float the balloon over here, it's like, all right, now what you going to do? We got you in the bind, essentially. We make everything for you. Your medicine, your electronics, your household materials sometimes used to build where you live. So what are you going to do? We built some of your car components. What are you going to do, U.S.? We're going to let it just go throughout the country, and then we're going to shoot it down off the coast because we shoot it down in Montana, then somebody might get hurt. Who is going to get hurt in Montana if you shoot that down? It ain't going to just spiral out of control. It'll go straight to the ground right away. Shoot it down in the middle of nowhere, big sky, big country. It'll be fine. Send a cleaning crew. Send a cleaning crew and get it together. Plastic, fabric, glass, metal, clean it up, get it together, and then you get to go. Very simple. Oh, that's something else. Sometimes Friendly says they bought up a bunch of farmland. That's right. Not only do they own a bunch of farmland in the U.S., they also own some food processing, some food companies. They own Smithfield Foods. If you know about Smithfield Foods, you get your hams and whatnot for them, your sausage links. China literally owns Smithfield Foods. I remember that when it happened because they got a plant out there in Virginia. And I remember when that whole thing happened, it was on the news that China had bought it some years ago. And they own a bunch of farmland. They were going to build some kind of corn processing, some kind of corn place. I'm not sure what it's called. Y'all let me know what it was called in the comments, but they were going to build a corn facility out there, I believe, in Montana. What was that? Great Forks. And then the Air Force said, no, that's going to be a national security risk. You can't do that. But China still owns the land, but they can't put anything on it because the military had to intervene and say, nah, don't do that. But if the military didn't intervene, they would have had, they're doing things all over the world, China that is, to provide food for their citizens. Because you got to understand, they're dealing with over 1.3 billion people. Like, that's kind of hard to really understand how much that is. That's a lot of people. And a lot of times they're in very confined spaces. And food is an issue. Food is a big problem. They're going all over the world, sending big ships. They're going to Brazil, Africa. They're going to U.S. They're going everywhere to try and produce enough food. They only have, like, I think 3 to 6% arable land. And what that means is that is how much of their land and their geographic country boundaries that they have that is suitable to farm on. And suitable is a strong word in Chinese standards because I've seen some filthy conditions where they actually produce food from. If you get any kind of, if you get food from China, you're asking for problems. Food in China is a mess. They got fake rice. They have what they call it, gutter oil. Literally, they get, I don't want to say what it is, but it's not good. And if you eat food with this on it, you can actually die or get very sick at best. Get very sick at best and die at worst. Put it to you like that. So it's a problem. They got fake rice, fake cabbage, fake milk, synthetic food that's just straight plastic. You're eating plastic over there. So if you get food from China in a U.S. store, understand what you're getting yourself into. Prime example. When I buy fish, let's say I buy some salmon, right? Tilapia is always going to be bad. Tilapia is bad here because a lot of times what they do with tilapia is, and now I'm getting real deep, so y'all just bear with me. With tilapia, what they do is they put that in a water treatment plant, or they'll put it in the water treatment plant cycle. So for example, if you have rainwater that collects and it overflows, and at a certain point, you're going to have sewer, like toilet water in there. And if it mixes, it's going to overflow and go down to a certain place. And in that place, you're going to have tilapia there cleaning the water by eating the remnants of whatever has spilled over. And they're going to sell that to you in the store. So tilapia, I don't want to do it. But let's say I get fish like wild caught salmon. If I get wild caught salmon from Trader Joe's. I can look at it. It says Walcott, Alaska. I can look at it through a transparent, like a sealed thing, like a shrink wrap container. I can see it physically. But what they do with Chinese food or Chinese food products, not Chinese food like from the little China store. I'm talking about if you go to the store and get a bag of fish and the bag is not transparent, so kind of color on it, you can't see inside the bag. That fish has probably been through some stuff. I'm talking about completely dirty and filthy. Filthy. The river, you would not want to step foot in that river. And they get food you eat from that river. It's gross. It's gross. I promise. So food's a problem. So they're all over the whole world, China that is, trying to get food to feed their people because they can barely feed them food that's not fake because there's so many people over there. And a lot of parts of China are very rural and very poor. Okay, you see Beijing, Shanghai, etc., Hong Kong, you thinking they live in the pretty first world life. No. A lot of China is looking like it looked in the 1500s. A lot of China's like that. People that work in the factories, if they didn't work in the factories, a lot of them working in a rice paddy. It like it's still back in the day, like 500 years ago back in the day in some parts of China. That's just what it is. Yeah, peanuts and corn. Oh my goodness, yeah. So shout out to everybody that gets that. If you like I said, I've said it before. If you live rural, you have a farm, you got chickens, you got cows, you got if you have a farm, you're able to raise your own food, you're doing very well. If you're relying upon eating very cheap food, going to Walmart, getting some of this fish in the bag, tilapia, stuff like that, I mean, you might have some problems. You may have issues. Yeah. And also, if you get tilapia from here in the United States, what they do is they put it in a it's farm raised. Like I try to, if I get wild caught salmon, sometimes they might lie, but I think they're pretty much truthful from where I get it from. But if you get in tilapia, a lot of times it's farm raised. And what a farm is, I'm gonna show you the farm. And you got to ask yourself, do you want to eat that? Okay, so matter of fact, here it is. Here's an example of what a tilapia farm looks like. This is actually a pretty good one. This is actually a pretty good farm compared to what I've seen before. I'm going to show you a Chinese farm, quote unquote, fish farm as well. And it's going to be night and day. But you got to ask yourself, and either one, do you want to eat from there? Hold on. Let me just put it on the screen. And here we go. So here's a guy, this regular guy with a tilapia. This is a very small tilapia farm, like in his backyard or something.
For what I need to do. So that's when I jumped over to something larger.
See.
This one here is a 1,000-gallon pool. I don't think it's an NX brand, but this one I got for about 120 or so on Amazon.
$120, not 120,000. This is like basically like a kiddie pool or one of those pools you put in your backyard to let your kids go play in. You know, not like an actual pool on the ground, but an above ground small pool, one of the little circular things that he kind of fortified with some foam and some PVC pipe and stuff like that. And you just put water in it. It's like a fish tank, and you grow tilapia in here basically, and you feeding them corn, usually just corn. And then once they get big enough to sell, you sell them and you keep the process going. That's how a tilapia farm is.
This is not really an ideal setup either. There's several ropes. And
so yeah, you see the fish in there. So you want to eat that? Is that how you want your fish to be grown? Do you want to eat that? I don't know. And that one, that's actually a pretty clean farm from what I've been able to see. That's a very good one. That's actually a very good one. But let me show you some more. Okay, I'm gonna show you some more. I gotta show you this one. Let me see if I can find it. Because there was one where they're talking about the New York sewer system, And hold on, I might not be able to find it. Yeah, I might not be able to find it. Nah, I might find that a little bit later. I'm gonna look up the China thing. Hold on. All right, so
Hello， 大家好，我是小友。
this guy's in China. This is not really what I was trying to find.
下午搬了2。
So this guy pumps water into like this shallow kind of dirty place. He's catching fish like that.
这个坑现在已经抽不上来了。
I mean, if you knew how your food was really captured and it was really like produced, you'd be kind of grossed out. You would most certainly be grossed out for real. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. I'm gonna find that video I was looking for about New York and the sewer system. I will find it. Because I'm looking right now. Hold on. I'm getting close. I'm seeing one about the trash.
New York City.
Hold on. I'm getting very, very close. Very close. Because I think this one's about, oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. So this video right here was about the trash in New York City. Where does it go? And they're saying where New York's 14 million tons of trash go. So here's at the end.
In the Arthur Kill, one of New York's waterways that doesn't have to suffer nearly the amount of pollution that it once did.
Hold on, that might not be it either.
We often take trash collection.
I'm gonna find that. I promise I will. Nah, that's not even it. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, I'll find it later. But you guys get the idea. A lot of that stuff, a lot of the ways you see that you're a lot of food you eat, if it comes from a certain place, you really don't want anything to do with it. Jalapia. Doesn't a Chinese company own the U.S. largest pig farm? Well, they own Smithfield Foods, so I was supposed to own a large pig farm because Smithfield Foods, that's pork processing. So I would presume they would own the largest pig farm. Absolutely, yeah. And you can only imagine what their practices are dealing with that. It's rough. It's super rough. Yeah, the 70s music. Of course, you gotta have the weird kind of 70s music. That's what that is. All right. Let's keep on going here. Back to the oh no. Not back to the spy balloon. We got some videos on deck. I'm gonna show you guys. Another chicken farm burned down. Yes, it's a lot of chicken farms burning down. A lot of chicken farms, they burn a chicken farm down. There's what it said it was an egg factory. That got burned down. A lot of places where food is produced, they're suffering issues. They're having problems being burned down or whatever. And they're talking about global warming, or now it's climate change. Are you guys experiencing the issue with the very cold temperatures all over the country? Because I've seen that happen a lot. Where I live is straight. You know, I'm in Tennessee, not far from Georgia. It's fine. It's not cold really. But certain places it's very cold. Now, this was in Mount Washington, New Hampshire. I think this was earlier today. And look how cold it is. It said it got to negative 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, that might be the air temperature or what it feels like with wind chill. I'm not really sure. But it doesn't matter. If it feels like 107 or if it is 107, I don't want to be anywhere near there. Negative 107, negative 107 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't want to be anywhere near that. Quite frankly, if it's 40 degrees, I'm cold. If it's 40 degrees, I'm like, yo, can I please get a coat right now? I'm going to freeze to death at 40 degrees. So negative 107, I can't do with it. I'm not going to be able to make it. Let's check this video out right quick. I mean, this looks like something you would see in a different planet. I don't know. Is that snow? Is it wind? A combination of both? I can't tell. Man, oh man. Man. That right there is a mess. Yeah, the weather extremes. That's what they always say. Because remember, for a while, they said global warming. Oh, the earth is getting hotter. The planet's getting so hot. It's getting hot. And really, before that, I remember global cooling back in the, global cooling was a thing for a long time. Then it became global warming. And for a while, there was a whole ozone layer kerfuffle. Oh, you spray in the aerosol can of spray paint, that's going to cause the ozone layer to break. And you know what that was? I think that was a way to fight graffiti in New York City, places like that. That might have been a lobbyist type thing. And we got a problem with graffiti. So Al Gore, what you should do is go on TV and say that if you spray aerosol cans, it's going to contribute to the ozone layer being depleted. So then it has scared kids into away from doing graffiti. That's my opinion about it right now. Thinking about it later. I've not heard about the ozone layer since. That was a big thing. I had Highlights magazine, and it was like a big front page thing about the ozone layer is going to be gone in 2 years back in the 90s. I've not heard one peep since about that ozone layer. Now it's all about, it was for a while global warming. After the ozone layer trend, then it was global warming. Now it's climate change. So any kind of weather event, any kind of abnormal, quote unquote, abnormal thing that happens, any kind of hurricane, tornado, blizzard, rain, heat wave, cold snap, anything, we'll say, oh, it's because of my climate change, not because of the sun doing its own thing, sunspots, cool spots, solar flares, okay, whatever, seasons. It's not even about that. It's about, oh, well, it's just, it's just climate change, everything. And then they grift on it. They raise money on it. That's the whole thing. They want to get a bunch of money to raise off of this so-called climate change. It's a mess, but I'm not surprised at all at the whole thing. I'm not surprised in the least bit. That's just what they do. So it is what it is. I remember Freon. Freon, yeah. Acid rain, that's another one. Freon, acid rain. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember all of that. That was a whole big mess. It's like, oh, what are we doing? Oh, the chloroform. Okay, well, if the CFCs eroded the ozone, why did the ozone layer talk just stop after 1996? I've not heard about the ozone in the past 20, 25 years. Real talk. It's been a whole crazy big mess. Yeah, the Greta Thunberg. But and the thing is, it's like if there was distress with the ozone layer, then why all of a sudden did the distress stop and there's no more talk about it? I never hear anybody say anything about it. And I'm sure that there's still CFCs in other parts of the world, China, India, here. It's crazy. The ozone hole got patched, huh? They did the fix it flat for the ozone layer, so it's good now. Okay, cool. I had no idea. I'm glad that the ozone layer has been fixed and it's all good now. I am glad that happened, for sure. It repaired itself. Good money. All right. Now, I'm reading some of the comments. Did I say Antarctica again? I don't know. I think you guys are trolling me. I don't think I'm saying that. But sometimes I get caught up and I just start talking and I don't really realize what I say. I just speak straight from the heart. speaking about Antarctica and some of these glaciers breaking off. Oh, a glacier broke off. It's the first time it ever happened. Like, if the glacier broke, then the question is, how did the glacier form? At a certain point, it was not frozen, then it became frozen. So how is that just, how can we say that's climate change or global warming doing that? But at the same time, we have record low temperatures all over the world. It's so dumb. Maybe, just maybe, the planet goes through things that we can't control. I think human beings are very arrogant to think that we can control the way the planet is, that we can control the weather. We're trying to control the weather, cloud seeding and stuff like that. Maybe even the chemtrails, that could be part of it. We're trying to control the weather, but we don't have very great success. They're trying to control the weather in China and make it rain in some of the deserted places, meaning they tilt the land so much, they farm the land so much, it became desertified. That's a word. So it went from arable land to desert, and they're trying to make it rain to get the land back to being arable. But is it working? I'm not really sure it's working. I think that it might not be working very well. But if you like what you're hearing thus far, y'all get a video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. I'm going to find that China video with them finding that fish. Because that video was very crazy. Hold on. Well, I do see a few videos that might be kind of what I'm looking for. Or maybe they remove that video, because some of these videos that are unflattering to certain countries, they remove it because they know people like me are watching it and they're showing it. And I feel like with some of these videos like TikTok that are on TikTok, I feel like some of these videos, they will some of those platforms will remove those videos. All right. I will get to the calls in a minute. If you're rushing me, you will get blocked. So don't do it. All right. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to get to the actual super chats here. Then we get to the calls a little bit later as I find this video, and we'll keep on rocking. Oh, no, I got it. I found it. I found the video about the wastewater. I found it. We're going to watch some of this, not the whole thing. So this is how New York City's sewage system treats 1.3 billion gallons of wastewater. Okie dokie. So now they're going to show toward the end of this video that they got fish that help deal with the water.
Bubbles that are coming up into this inlet. Water, there's a...
So if you kind of grossed out, it's not really that bad. But if you kind of grossed out a little bit by stuff like this, then I suggest you don't watch this part. But it's not really that bad. It's just like some floaty stuff in the water. That's all. It's just like if you ever go to like a place in New York or any kind of city and you see a river and it has some kind of dirty stuff in it, this is just kind of what's going on. Okay. So fair warning. I'm sorry if it kind of grosses you out, but I got to show this, because if you're eating fish and some of this tilapia, this is where it comes from. Okay. Y'all ready? You ready? All right, hold on.
So Newtown Creek is this little tidal tributary of the East River, and we have all sorts of marine wildlife here, though, which is, I think, always kind of surprises people. Crabs, shrimp. So yeah, the cormorants scare off pretty easily. It's the water, even though it rises and falls with the tides, there's no real current back and forth. So when CSO is discharged, because the water's so stagnant here, it has lasting impacts.
So CSO, I think that's like when they're talking about when it rains a lot and there's overflow that the treatment places cannot handle, it goes into this inlet, basically. So basically, some of the wastewater does not go where it's supposed to go. It goes right out there in this water.
So we're going to sneak into this inlet. This is what's known as Maspeth Creek. The unfortunate main function of this inlet is to service this combined sewer overflow that we're going to see up ahead.
So CSO, combined sewer overflow. You get it?
Fortunately, we're here after a week of dry weather, so this thing hasn't discharged. The sign is a little bit obscured, but this is known as NCQ 77. This is one of the largest sewer outfalls in the entire city. This is over 300 million gallons a year of untreated sewage coming out of this pipe. And you see all these bubbles that are coming up. So this is all organic matter that is decaying here. It creates gases like methane and hydrogen sulfide, which is what we smell right now.
Oh, imagine that smell. Oh my goodness.
It hasn't overflowed in probably over a week at this point. But the impacts are so severe because the amount of sewage that comes out of here and the very stagnant condition.
Large underground tunnels that will hold the rainwater during a...
I'm trying to skip to the part. Talking about the fish. I think talk about the fish here too.
In the world.
Swimming or touch the water after a rain event. River in the Hudson. Overall, New York City has made significant progress, and you can see the impacts. It hasn't overflowed.
Basically, they're not going to show it in this one, but basically what they do to clean this water up, because he said it didn't overflow for a long time, and it's kind of like just floating waste right there. What they'll do is they'll put tilapia in there to clean it up because they'll eat all that organic matter, and then when they're done with it, it's sold to you. That's how that works. So be careful. Anyway, if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And let's go ahead and get to the super chats. And then we get to the calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let me get to the first one here. Thank you to Kevin for the microphone emoji. Appreciate you for that. Thank you to Flamma, who says celebrate. Oh, okay. That's the first super chat you sent me. Thank you for that, for your first super chat. Thank you to Michael Critchlow, who says, you see the story about the retirement and Tom Brady sat. The retirement saying Tom Brady sat on the, yeah. So somebody tried to auction off some sand that Tom Brady was sitting on when he made his retirement announcement. I did see that. The bidding is up to $99,000 as we speak. What is wrong with people? Whoever buys that sand doesn't deserve money. That's crazy because my thing is, the thing about that particular thing, to break that down right quick, let me see if I can find that actual listing. So Tom Brady retired, of course, and what happened was he cut a video briefly talking about he's going to retire, and he was in front of a building on the beach. Now, somebody went to that exact spot, scooped some sand up, and then they put it on eBay to sell. And they showed a picture of where they were. And there's a picture of where he is. Now, check it out. Hold on. You see, that's the video that he cut. That's a still from the video that he cut. And that's the person showing themselves right in that same spot. But Captain Obvious, Mr. Genius over here thinking a little bit, if I want that sand, why don't I go to that same spot and get my own sand for free? Wouldn't that make any sense? I'm sure he was in Florida somewhere. Okay, if that guy found it, I could find it too. You probably on South Beach or somewhere, Tampa. I don't know where you at. St. Pete. I can go out to that same place and get that same sand. I'm not paying 100 bands, but maybe if you live in a different part of the world. But even if you live somewhere else, I can simply fly to the U.S. for $2,000 and get a hotel right there, South Beach, wherever you are, and get that same sand. It's just silly. People are just silly, but maybe it's just me thinking a little bit too deep. $99,000, $99,000 on the eBays. I mean, I can't tell. That could be a troll boosting the price up. I don't know. People will buy that though. All right, is that in Tampa? Okay, probably like St. Pete. Hey, get you a flight to St. Pete. Like I could almost drive down there. I can get a flight for the low $200 a flight max. I go straight Spirit Airlines, Frontier, go down there. I only got to get a hotel. I go back the same day. Give me a mason jar from Walmart. Go to that beach, put the sand in there, and go back about my business. Yeah, probably fake bids. I would assume, K-Man. But you know what, CB? People do still sell air in a jar. Some of these girls on some of these websites be, farting in a jar. Okay, I'm sorry. That might be a little bit too much. We got kids watching. But what I'm saying is people buy stuff that they shouldn't be buying. That's kind of ridiculous. And it could be anything. You could buy an empty jar. Somebody says, hey, I have all my hopes and dreams in here. And I sell it to you for starting bid $1,000. And then people will bid on it. Only in America. But anyway, take it to Hail Mary, who says, Vice President Kamala Harris says she loves balloons. Don't you love balloons? Raise your hand. I do not. Take it to Boomhauer, who says, Biden's ice cream machine set to soft serve for the next 2 years. This is embarrassing on the world stage. Spy balloon picked up everything. It sure did. Take it to TJ Jizzle. I read yours right there about Kamala Harris going to Tyre Nichols' funeral. Take it to Flamma, who says, we'll try to put up some words in here, 50 words. Okay. What's my opinion about Poland's race to arm itself? Go for it. Sovereign country, do what you want to do. Also, the Tate brothers can't do anything. I'm not sure what that is referring to. Take it to Theo Francis 3.0, who says, the Chinese sent the balloon to show their own people how inept and indecisive Biden is, as to make him the less fearful of war. Mission accomplished. There you go. Makes sense to me. Take it to F Ranger Xbox, who says, the balloon was returned in documents. Flamma says, more like to show brain dead people, show how brain dead. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, boss. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to Page 64, who says, China has a base in Argentina for weather studies. Very interesting. Weather studies, right? Oh, okay. We're going to call it that, weather studies. Thank you to No White Guilt, who says, the gray in the beard comes from paying attention to the truth. I have gray in my beard when I grow it out as well. There you go. You got it. Flamma again says, corrode instantly? Seriously, man? Yes, right away. It's going to corrode to nothing. It's going to disintegrate. Big sheets of metal will just disintegrate into nothing, into thin air from the water. Yeah, that's what I mean. Thank you to TJ Digital again, who says, China purchased 200,000 acres across the United States. This is why DeSantis signed a bill to prevent the purchase of land in Florida. They can eat the bugs. There you go. Thank you to Santo Bartez, who says, the balloon was a test of our response. If we won't immediately defend our own airspace, the CCP knows that we won't immediately defend Taiwan. Oh, very good. If we can't even shoot the balloon out of the sky when it's over the Aleutian Islands of Alaska, not Antarctica, like I said earlier, if we can't do that and we just let it go throughout the whole United States and do whatever it wants to do, if we can't even shoot that down, how are we going to defend Taiwan? And we're not going to defend Taiwan. That's just not even, if China invades Taiwan, we're not going to do a thing because, quite frankly, we can't. If we try to interfere, we have a war, period. A world war, World War III. We don't want to do that. So them sending that balloon was a small, soft test of that theory. And like you said, mission accomplished. We look weak on the international stage, correct. Thank you to, I can't read your name there, Blaze Time for the thumbs up emoji. Thank you to Lothair. Your name is all over the place, boss. They say Antifa are not anarchists. They are authoritarian dictators. Well, that makes sense to me. I'm not going to be in disagreement with you. But I think that is it for the super chat so far. If you like what you're hearing so far tonight, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now we got time for the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. The number will always be in the description box below. Also in the ticker, if you forget it, there's also an email for Skype. That'll be in the description box below. If it don't work properly, then it's not my fault. Please blame the white man. Let's get to the first call here. 703 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, it's good to be good. The military can't act.
Hold on. I can't hear you for a while, so can you start over? I'm sorry.
So basically, I'm just kind of curious if Posse Comitatus and with shooting the balloon down, where Congress needs to authorize kind of an act of war. So is this an act of war?
So do you think this is enough to have a war start?
I hope not. But with the actions of the military, with using the military on U.S. soil, and even Biden said, we had to make sure that we shot it down before it was, within 12 miles or 12 nautical miles of land. So that way, it's close to us. But I'm just kind of curious about the Posse Comitatus thing. It's like as it was floating along. It's like, okay, it's maybe, okay, very intimate, something that needs to be acted on immediately, where boom, we see it, we're going to shoot it down immediately. Okay, then maybe not go through the Congress process. But if you're going to let it float through until it gets off the coast and it's over the water so that you can shoot it and not have to worry about it falling down, then he's been going through the process of informing Congress, and Congress would authorize shooting it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a congressional thing. I don't think he needs the Congress to do it, because he said that he gave the order to the Pentagon, and then the Pentagon said, okay, we're going to do it on this time. So is that a congressional thing that needs to happen? I don't think so.
Well, but I mean, the military is not allowed to act on U.S. soil. The only time the military is allowed to act is like if, like for natural disasters and things like that. The military is not allowed to act on U.S. soil.
So, are you saying that the balloon was shot down beyond U.S. jurisdiction?
Well, I mean, he said that they needed to shoot it down before it got within 12 nautical miles. So that would, to me, say that's on U.S. soil, within 12 miles of the coast, so then that would be U.S. soil, and that's the U.S. military acting on U.S. soil.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm not sure I get where you're going with it.
I'm just curious if whether or not, because of the delay that had happened, where we could, let it float for 48 hours or whatever, where it was known in the public, that if the appropriate legal actions should have been taken.
I'm not sure about any of that. I just think that it should have been shot down earlier. And I think that...
Oh, I think they should have shot it down earlier. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But as far as anything beyond that, any kind of conflict type thing, I think not for that.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. Thank you very much. It's great to be on. So I want to get off so that you can get to other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right. Shout out to the caller. 715, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? All right, 715. We have got Kofi. 918, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABL? It's J.P. Scotchen from Oklahoma. How you doing, buddy?
It's all good, man. What's going on?
Hey, not a lot, man. Just, trying to stay warm here, man. I mean, this crazy climate change. It's pretty cold here, too. It is cold.
Right.
Sure.
Nah, I feel you.
Yeah. But anyway, I was thinking of something with all the talk about China and fish, the tilapia and all that stuff. I wanted to bring something up that I thought you'd probably be interested in, and a lot of people, just for educational purposes. Chef Gordon Ramsay, the most famous chef in the world, he did a documentary about 10 years ago where he went to China to figure out what's going on with shark fin soup. Because over in that part of the world, in China especially, it's considered like a delicacy. It's something that only the upper class people eat. So he wanted to find out what's the big deal about it. Why is it such a delicacy? And he went and had some at one of the best restaurants that serves it, and said it was one of the most tasteless things he's ever eaten. And so he couldn't understand why it was such a delicacy when it just had no flavor to it at all. It was just a status food. And then he went out to see how they got it. Now, this is what people should be upset about, especially if you got PETA, animal rights activists. I mean, they go out, these fishermen, and they just catch thousands and thousands of hammerhead sharks. They bring them up on board. They literally just cut off their fins, like their side fins, their top fin, their rear fin, and then they just toss the body over the side of the ship while it's still alive. And that poor shark, they can't swim, they can't do anything. It's just going to get picked apart by, littler fish and crabs. And it was a horrible, horrible process the way they do it. And then when he went back into the city, he wanted to try to go buy some, like on the public market. But they don't like to put that out in public because they don't want the press to see what's going on. Like, they would literally put like their shops on top of buildings and put like tarps over it. And they had this thousands and thousands of shark fins laying out drying. And yeah, they didn't want him there. He's like, let's get out of here before we get shot. So that's just another one of the interesting things that China does that, I don't know, there should be, you figure some animal rights activists would be doing something big about that, but they're not.
No, they don't really care too much. Like they only care when it could benefit them, really, I think, probably financially. Some of these animal rights groups, a lot of these not-for-profit, PETA type places, they only care about things that could benefit them over here. But when it comes to like international political stuff that could be damaging to them potentially, they stay away from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know the name of it, but you can just look it up on YouTube. And it's on there. And that's what sucks. When you go to Walmart, I love shrimp and other types of fish, but every time I look at one of the back of the bags, you get to look really close down at the bottom and find out where it's from. And the majority of it is product of China or product of Vietnam. So that's why I just stop buying any kind of seafood from Walmart. I just go to a local store that gets local farm-raised catfish. That's where it's at.
That's right. That's how you do it.
Yeah. But anyway, so China, I don't know, they trolled us with this balloon. They did. I hate to admit it, but they trolled us pretty good with that balloon.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, if Trump was in office, that balloon never would have been up in the air. That never would have even happened.
Right.
But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Those are my topics for the night. All right, love you, man. Love everyone in the chat, and all the callers, and I'll sit back and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right, later, dude.
All righty, let's go to. All right, I got a little bit closer to the trigger on that one. 860, you don't lie. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's your old buddy FA Ranger Xbox.
All right, man. What's going on?
How you doing?
It's all good.
Can I settle down those flat earthers real quick? Real quick.
All right, go for it.
Thank you, sir. To all you flat earthers out there, go on YouTube, look at Carl Sagan, and look for the Egyptians. A man in Egypt, he was librarian of the Great Library of Alexander, 300 BC. He was reading a book that at 12 noon, the sun shone exactly in a perfect circle at the bottom of this well. So he knew that the sun was directly overhead. So they built the tower X amount of feet high. And then he went 500 kilometers to the south, built another tower exactly mimicking that. Then he paid a man to pace that off. Then by using arithmetic, he calculated the distance from the sun and the circumference of the earth. And Carl Sagan explains it. And there's even a video, so you don't even have to strain your eyes going to a library and reading the book yourself, that the earth is round, and that man back then with clay tablets figured it out pretty close to being almost perfectly accurate to how many kilometers the earth is in diameter. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
There you go.
Oh, Jesus. Stop the indoctrination, get an education, figure out what a library is, and then figure out how to read. Turning the page is a little difficult, but if you wet your finger a little bit, it'll help you out.
There you go.
Hey, books are very expensive to publish. That, they contain a lot of useful information. That's why these people want to burn them and change them these days. They don't want you knowing the truth. But, yeah, the memes are great. I put out a challenge on Wimkin, social media. It's I'm judging Jordan Peterson. Is he a competent professional psychologist or is he a quack? I judge that he's a professional, one of the best in the world. The ones that are trying to judge him are just jealous quacks. And ABL, I'll leave you with that. You have a good night. Bye.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you. All right. Shout out to my man, FNA Ranger Xbox, for the call. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. 928 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, how do you like?
Hey, what's up? My name is Chad. I gotta mute you. My bad. You're on my TV. So, I got two things I'm gonna bring up. All right, I'm gonna be real quick so you can get to somebody else. So the first thing I want to bring up that I don't think anybody is talking about is the whole balloon flying over. That's a big problem, especially if you're just planning to do something about it off of the coast. And the reason that's a big problem is because a lot of people don't think about EMPs, electromagnetic pulse, right? You could take out the entire grid with that. The only place that wouldn't be affected is like Alaska and Hawaii because they run off their own power grid, right? So it's like people are not thinking about that. China knows now, at least with this president in charge, could just throw a balloon over and now he could send something faster. Maybe he could send something faster, EMP, and take out the entire electrical grid. And then that's that. It's on if that happens. Like, I'm not going to go any further on that. It's on if that happens. That's World War III. The second thing I'm going to get into real quick, because it's completely off topic, is the Ukraine thing. That's such a wild topic to even get into. But basically, there's a Nazi regiment in Ukraine called the Azov Regiment, and it blows my mind with people my age, like they're like fighting, I save Ukraine, all of a sudden it's like, you want to save that Nazi regiment in Ukraine? And then when you tell them that, their minds just explode. It blows my mind, these two huge facts. Right now, like the world is more tense than pre-World War II. Like it really is, because that was affecting a huge part of the world, don't get me wrong. It was a huge part of it. He was trying to do it globally. He did. Terrible man, Adolf Hitler. At the same time, that's what's happening now. Is the entire everybody's fighting. There's tons of wars going on, and we're on the brink of it. We think we're all cool right here, chilling, all like just chilling, but we're not, man. Like we're on the brink, and everybody my age is they're stupid. Like they're not listening. But anyway, I ain't let you say nothing, but that's all I wanted to say, man. And watch the show, and thanks for letting me talk, bro.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Good points are raised, very, very good points are raised for sure. All right. And let's get to some more callers. You guys know the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 859, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, how's it going? You were very more. I think you read my comment earlier.
I didn't hear that part. Say that one more time for me, please.
Yeah, it's me. It's me was very Mordred. I made that comment earlier about the about Antifa, not anarchists. They're dictators.
Oh, I got you. And I think you probably would be better if you got off speaker. Did you hear me?
Yeah, let me go ahead and go. Hear me now?
That's much better.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to be on the show. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, and I came across your channel a long time ago. I've been watching it ever since then. So, I mean, some of the stuff that you put on YouTube, sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't, but I like your entertainment. I think you're cool.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that a lot. It means a lot to me.
No problem, man. The one thing I think is kind of crazy and irritating that the whole issue between Ukraine and Russia. Why is our government so invested in that? I just don't get it.
Probably a few reasons. Probably because we watch a lot of money over there. You know, people like Joe Biden and his son over there with Burisma Holdings get a bunch of money over there. And then it's also a way for us to try and fight a proxy war against Russia for whatever the reason may be. I'm not exactly sure why we're doing that, but we're doing it.
It's silly because back in the day when I was younger, I was against the Bush administration because of the Iraq war. And now it seems like the Democrats of all things are pro-war now. And now it's the conservatives and the libertarians, the people on the right, they're anti-war. Like, what's going on? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's very confusing. It's confusing times, but I guess people just kind of shift depending upon what makes sense for them politically. I don't know. It's weird.
It's crazy. It's always been crazy. But hey, thank you very much for answering my call, bro. Keep on rocking on, dude.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, much love.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny how that whole thing happened with the left going pro-war. 912, you don't lie. Who am I speaking to? 912, hello.
Hello.
Yes, who am I speaking to?
Sorry about that. What's up?
I said, who am I speaking to?
Oh, this is Mitchell.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. How you doing?
It's all good, man. Can't complain. All right, so what's on your mind? What you want to talk about today on the show?
Oh, okay. So earlier, I was listening to a guy. He brought up some things about the flat Earth. Just wanted to say, sounds interesting because it sounds like he believes everything that he reads. But I'm going to set that aside. This concept about the EMP, people need to look into all of the tests that were done back in the 50s out of Bikini Atoll. Our military literally tested with balloons and nuclear warheads to set off EMPs to devastate nations. And that looks like this is the exact same project playing out again, if that is the potential for what they're going to use. And if that happens, there would be no way for our military to strike back at that point. It would take out a lot of our military protocol, anything that's within the radius, right? No way for people there then to communicate.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Now, do you think that's a possibility of happening? Because one thing about if that was to happen here in the States, we have our military all over the world. So I think other nations will understand that they did something like that we can respond to them very quickly near where they are rather than just being right here in the States doing it.
How is anyone going to know that that's happened? It's going to take, roughly a day before anyone can get in contact. You'd have to have people physically talking to someone that still has technology, because it will fry any ability for us to use internet, telephones. If there's still telegraphs running, maybe.
Well, I mean,
right?
I think, do you think that we're prepared?
Because those wouldn't work either.
Do you think we're prepared for an EMP attack, like as far as any kind of fail-safe?
Not at all.
You don't think so?
We had in our government, we had a whole committee that was set up, the same as we have terrorist task forces and things like that, that are these little boards of people that sit around and they plan for these types of things. They disbanded the EMP committee however many years ago, and we've constantly had the people that were sitting on that committee warning this current administration and past administrations about how serious the threat is, because we don't have anything to fall back on to rebuild our infrastructure in a timely manner, let alone the materials to then rebuild the infrastructure.
that you understand the implications of everything that goes into having to rebuild after that, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean,
our entire power grid, I mean, that's multi-billions of dollars that would have to be spent. And as far as I know, which maybe they do have some underground bunker somewhere with some of this stuff laying around enough to make some type of a skeleton grid, or certain areas where they have power again to run, similar to what's the name of the bunker that they have outside of DC?
Oh, was it Camp David?
It's like similar to that, but those are all individual locations then. And so you'd have a whole lot of people, but in any case, there's speculations back, I forget how old this stat is, but from that committee when it existed, was that 90% of Americans would die if we were hit by an EMP attack and our grid was taken down.
Wow.
So that's the other thing you have to think about.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, that's just, hopefully we could just hope that that doesn't happen, really.
Well, that or planning and foresight. Starting to implement things in your community, having a network of people that have ways to communicate outside of that, building your own Faraday cages, getting devices that you can use to store in those as backup for if that type of thing happens. That would be the ideal method, as well as finding means of transportation that you could use after such an event takes place, if it does. Which we don't just have to worry about other nations doing this, obviously. If you believe the sun exists the way that it does, and it's spitting out EMPs all the time, that could hit us. So,
right.
But yeah, no, that's just that's some of the thoughts that I had on this. First thought that I had, this is you, Cash, from your chat earlier.
Well, that's your call, man. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. It's good talking to you. Have a good night.
Same to you. All right. Is this No White Guilt?
Hey, can you hear me, brother?
I hear you well.
All right, man. Awesome to talk with you. You were recommended to me last month by YouTube, and I just turned you on. I was working, and you reminded me totally of a kid I grew up with for a number of years. He was a great guy. And so I stuck around, and you all have a great show, and it's funny. You're funny, and I like all the different topics you cover. So I just wanted to call in real quick, say hello, and say I'm enjoying myself. And maybe I'll just mention that to speak to one of the topics you addressed tonight, this balloon over the U.S. from China. There's so much we don't know. You know what I mean? We receive information that's sanitized from the regime media in the United States. The media sanitizes, or the governments in other countries sanitize their news for their populations. For all we know, the U.S. might have launched a balloon over China that the Chinese took out. And this was some sort of if you can do it to us, we can do it to you, some sort of a thing. But there were also some possibilities that struck me as y'all were talking about it. And it was, what if, now, for as far as spying goes, China has, as far as I understand, the satellites, low Earth orbit satellites that can see fantastically into the U.S. But what they can't do is smell. And the balloon could smell. It could take up particles that are in the air. And so what might it be smelling for? And why then would the U.S. allow the balloon to travel across the country before finally shooting it down? Could it be that we have technology, the U.S. has technology on the mainland that could not be transported, that could look directly into the telemetry and the software on this so-called weather balloon, and that it had to be allowed to pass over? Or could it be that they had to allow it to pass over to see what the Chinese were actually going to do, hover over these nuclear sites, sort of a thing? Or could it have been a more of a delivery method? The Japanese, of course, used those incendiary bombs from in World War II, and several of them made it to the continental United States, as I understand. I could be wrong. and willing to be corrected. But there are quite a few possibilities here. But I think it looks bad for both China and the U.S. It seems like China might have been trying to say, hey, we can float a balloon over your country. And it looks like it's really sort of ham-fisted, and they look awkward. And the U.S. looks bad because the U.S. allowed the darn thing to cross the entire country before finally taking it out. But those were just some thoughts that I had. I don't know, what did you have any? Did I say anything that maybe made you think something?
Oh, definitely, about the part where you're saying maybe we have some technology here that we can actually see up into it and gather information that way. So we don't need to actually try and go find the payload or the sensors or whatever after it's shattered and then salvage it, because we can already see into it. That's possible.
Yeah, it seems to me, and when you look at this technology over the years, for example, the kinds of things that they used to do down here, and I'm up in Northern Virginia, so Langley's right down the road. And, you know, they used to, back in the day, they used to put bugs, listening devices in rooms until they figured out how they could just fire lasers at the windows and hear the entire conversation. So who knows what kind of technology the U.S. has, but that is not technology that could be on an airplane or on a ship, something that would require the balloon to pass over the technology to be able to see exactly what was going on, and then be totally indifferent to what ends up happening to the balloon once they shoot it out of the air. Maybe that indifference is a message back to China, like, well, we don't even care what was in that thing. We just blew it to pieces. Although when I looked at the video, when you were watching it live, you tell me, did it really look like I thought I heard that it was a Sidewinder missile, heat seeker, and I didn't really see much of an explosion. Now, I know the explosions we see on movies is not reality. You know, grenades in a movie is a big fireball, and in reality, there's nothing of the sort. But did it really look like the thing blew up, or did it look like a missile traveling at some excessive speed plowed through it, and that's why you saw all the dust and pieces going everywhere, like a car crash?
Yeah, it was kind of a car crash. It just kind of plowed through it. Like, I mean, I can't really imagine that hitting the balloon would make a big explosion. Maybe if you hit the payload, if there's some kind of reaction in there, maybe that will cause an explosion, but probably not even that. I think that it just wasn't going to cause an explosion because of the nature of the actual balloon. It just kind of like, you know, it was like an actual balloon you would have at a birthday party. It was like that if you pop it.
Right. Well, it's really fascinating. It does seem like we might be getting into, at least it's worth speculating, and then I'll jump off and continue to listen to the great callers, but while I do my work. But it does seem like we might be getting into sort of a tit for tat, sort of like a roll up to some casus belli altercation with China, which, of course, as you're pointing out astutely, is problematic for the United States, since so many of these businesses offshored initially to places like Mexico and then moved on over to China, where the labor is even cheaper. The biggest joke, I think, so far has been China trying to say that, oh, no, it's not even our weather balloon. It's a private company here in China. Oh, sure.
Yeah, right.
The communist China, they have a lot of private companies just doing whatever they want over there.
Exactly, right.
But great show, brother. I appreciate it. And I'll pass it back. I'll jump off and I'll listen to the rest.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
That was a great call. And that last point about private companies, yeah, ain't no such thing in China. You want to be a private company? Okay, we're going to put some Chinese Communist Party official right on your board. You know, it's just like if you have Facebook over here in the U.S., it'd be the equivalent of having Kamala Harris on the board. Like, okay, we're going to just, you know, make sure everything's good. Yeah, that's how it goes in China. Ain't no such thing as private companies. Let's go to, okay, 815, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABL? This is Jacob from the 6th Illinois. How's it going?
It's all good, man. What's going on?
Not much. I haven't been listening because I've been trying to call in, but I was able to hear the last caller. Tough act to follow. I enjoyed those insights. So shout out to the last caller. shout out to the Chicago cop guy, because he usually calls in, and I haven't heard him yet tonight, but usually calls in right here. That's all talk. So shout out to Chicago cop guy. How are you feeling tonight, ABL?
You said what now?
All right, so I got a list of things I got written down here. I'm usually the stoner guy who always kind of goes against you with the marijuana things, but I got a list of stuff in no particular order. I thought that the graffiti ozone layer bit that you had was pretty brilliant of you. I never thought of that before, so I just wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, the Ilhan Omar, yeah, that was ridiculous. Big apology, like, oh, I didn't know those were the tropes and blah, blah, blah. You know, I thought that was a fun thing. I mean, I am Jewish myself, and I mean, I just feel like not only is she, as she said what she said, but, you know, she also is a liar. Anyway, because I don't feel like she really apologized. She knew those were tropes, and she's lying, and we all know it. Anyway, okay, so my thing was, well, what happens with the balloon, okay? Like, now, this doesn't really make sense, because if China really wanted to hurt us, they could just bomb us or do many different things, right? But, like, what happens if the balloon was, say, filled with, like, and I commented this, I think, on your thing, like, filled with nails or glass or something that, like, once blown up could, you know, spread further than thought and potentially hurt people, you know, like just, and so I felt like that maybe it was not necessarily a bad thing to wait until it was offshore, and also not a bad thing to wait because it seemed less reactionary, like, oh, we got to shoot you right away, you know, like it seemed like we were chill about it, but not too chill about it. Like we shot it down, but we didn't we weren't like super duper reactionary about it. And I think that, I mean, I'm not trying to give credit to Biden. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that wasn't necessarily the worst route to take. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I'm not going to swear because I usually swear, and I'm not going to swear this time.
Thank you.
And thank you for dealing with me not swearing before, or for swearing before. No fentanyl in the UK, I said, because, well, you were saying about the China and the opium wars, and I believe that was, like, brought about by the UK, and I agree, like, maybe it's, like, retribution, they're trying to get back at us, but it's sort of interesting because it was, like, the UK who really did the opium wars, but yet there's mysteriously no fentanyl, it seems like, in the UK, but a lot of other drugs in the UK, just not fentanyl, which I think is weird. I also, you know, we heard it was in Montana, and then we heard it was in South Carolina, but I didn't really hear much about, like, the trajectory between Montana and South Carolina, which
it was also it was also in Missouri, North Carolina. It was in a few other places.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So basically the entire United States. Great.
It went down like kind of like in the center, and then it started to curl like toward Carolinas and then go out.
Mm-hmm. And is the one in South America still like active?
As far as I know, I've not heard about it being shot down yet. I think it's still out there, just kind of hovering around.
I mean, I feel like if anything, they should feel bad about themselves feeling weak. I mean, because they haven't done anything yet, first of all.
Well, you know, these countries,
they must feel like super weak.
Yeah, they're not really seen as any kind of power down there. Then, you know, it's on us as the United States to be the big dog and do something. But a small country, Guatemala, they're not going to do anything.
Right, but sometimes as the big dog, you got to realize you're the big dog and just really willing to walk away. That's all I'm saying.
Right on.
But not to China, because I know they're trying to front with us, and they're trying to play a game and see how far they can get. And there's a virus in it. Maybe does a virus transmute as easily like in water than it does in like the air? Like maybe if there's a virus, I don't know. I'm just totally thinking outside the box. Out loud, but like if there's like a virus or something in there, they could. But then again, if they wanted to do that, they could do it in many different ways. Oh yeah, I wanted to say yes. It is super cold in Illinois, In fact, I work at a auto place, and we have an air machine, and many people came up today asking for air, of course, and I had to hop out and give them air. I'm like, it's freezing out, and the machine didn't even work. So, yeah, it's cold, but I don't believe the negative 107. I know this was a wind chill. I've always think the wind chill is kind of a conspiracy BS because they're like, oh, yeah, it's another negative 200 wind chill, but, like,
right on.
Not really. And, why can't you grow food indoors like China?
Hold on. Caller, hold on. I got more calls online I got to get to, man. Thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Okay. God bless. Thank you, Bill.
I know. All right. Shout out to the caller. All righty. Let's go. 717 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Moses. How you doing tonight?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Not much. It's been a while since I called in. So how about that air balloon? Finally, they popped that thing. I just don't understand why it took so long to pop that thing. Obviously, our president decided to be in bed with China. China probably had some dirt on Hunter and Joe. So I guess that's the reason why they decided to pop it so late, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole lot going on. A lot happened in there that they that went into that decision, but it should have been popped a long time ago.
Exactly. And I wanted to discuss a story that I actually ran into. Did you hear about that 43-year-old tennis player he's jacked to the gills, peak physical condition, all of a sudden dropping dead from a heart attack?
I've not heard about that specific person, but I've heard quite a few stories just like that.
Yeah, this one was just recent. Like, this guy, if you see his, like, photos, he's jacked to the gills. Like, he is peak physical condition, like fat man condition. And all of a sudden he drops dead from a heart attack. It makes you wonder, we got to have a serious discussion about what's going on around here. Obviously, we already know what it is. I can't say it because of YouTube reasons, and I don't want to get you censored. But let's just say it has something to do with 1,291 side effects. And I'll just leave it at that.
Very, very simple. I mean, and I think more people are starting to see that now. We see what's going on now. So it's not necessarily a surprise anymore.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It shouldn't be a surprise. We shouldn't be like numb to something like that. We should be getting some accountability. I mean, after all, a certain company that starts with a T and ends with Zer is actually developing, or rumors has it that they are developing new strains of a bug just so they can make money off vaccines. So It kind of makes you wonder. But I'm just going to leave it at that. If you want to just research that whenever you got time, it'll be appreciated. But if you don't, that's fine. I'm going to let you go. I know you have a busy night. Have a great night, ABL, and God bless, and have a great night, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate it. Bye-bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. And let's go to 757 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, Mr. Logan, Chesapeake Bob here. How you doing?
That's all good, man. What's going on?
Chat's on fire tonight. I've gotten a couple phone calls on that.
Right on.
Anyhow, I wanted to, I know they talked a lot about this balloon thing going on. Let me point out a couple things that I saw that most people aren't seeing. So originally when they first found it over Alaska, Biden said, shoot it down, right? And the generals at the Pentagon come back and say, oh, no, we don't want to do that. It might fall on some people. It might hurt some buildings. We might get sued, blah, blah, blah. And Biden said, okay. Right?
Yes.
That's what first happened. Now, and he let it fly through the U.S., and finally they shot it right off the coast of the 12-mile nautical mile range that says, okay, this ocean is ours. That's a 12-mile range. Now, what I didn't hear and what I kind of wanted to see was most people don't realize that every single state has a National Guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So any one of those states that balloon floated over, that National Guard, which is controlled by that state's government, or that state's governor, I'm sorry, could have very easily said, shoot that balloon down right there. Now, I'm curious as to why no governors took their own initiative and shot this thing down over Montana. Have you heard that story anywhere?
I've not heard that story, but I'm thinking about how that would play out. I think that'd open a big can of worms. The military and the federal government. That'd be. I'm not sure what state wants to carry that burden on their back, even if they have that authority. I think that'd open up a can of worms.
Yeah, but let's say I don't know that it went over South Dakota, but I think Kristi Noem is the governor of South Dakota. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. Did you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up. Yeah, just barely. But here's something that I think she might have done, because she's eyeing the White House as well. So she could have ordered her National Guard to shoot it down if it came over South Carolina. And then she would have sat down and said, well, our president was unwilling to act, so I acted on behalf of the people of South Dakota. I think that would have been a very good argument.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But like I said, you're going to open up a can of worms with that. And I'm not really sure that her presidential aspirations would be worth that kind of monkey on their back. I'm not sure she really wants that kind of pressure. But I do see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a candidate for president, you want that kind of conflict, right? You want that contrast, not conflict, that contrast between a weak president and a strong governor. But I didn't hear it anywhere, but I was thinking about it, and Atomic kind of stirred it up, and so I figured I'd give you a call and just say, hey, maybe they should have thought of that.
I mean, that's definitely a good question for sure.
All right, sir. Well, I'll leave you alone, and you have a good night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good that's a good question. But like I said, yeah, from the point of view of the public opinion, yeah, that'll do something. But I mean, that's gonna be a big can of worms. You're gonna get the military involved, DOD on your back. I don't know if you really want that, but that's a really good point. 559, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. My name is Laura.
All righty, what's going on?
Okay, so I didn't think I was going to get through. I live in California, so I'm not sure if you get a lot of callers from over here, but I wanted to tell you a few things. The first one is, I think it's good that you tell people, like, when you give the warnings to people that are trying to get scammed by impersonators.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like, for someone like me, obviously that's like common sense, but there's a lot of elderly people that they just think that everything that they read is true. And so I'm glad that you do that.
Well, thank you, because, you know, I noticed it quite a bit. I've gotten some emails about that from other people, like somebody will be a fan of mine, but they'll be on a different channel and they'll ask me about somebody else. It's like, so I got to just make sure everybody has that awareness. So I'm glad you appreciate that and recognize it.
I do. My mom, my dad passed away in 2021, and I live in the belly of the beast. So where I live is very conservative, ironically, in California. We, very conservative area. But anyways, so we had a ranch and my dad passed away, and my mom, she, you know, sold the ranch and she got a lot of money for it. And, you know, she got taken advantage of. And so anyways, I'm glad that you do that. Another thing is I don't really have anything to talk about, but I did want to let you know that I appreciate your humor. I don't know if I fall into the typical demographic of listeners that you have, but my husband and I, you know, we have 4 kids, and I appreciate that I can listen to you around my children, because I don't listen or watch. We don't listen or watch anything around them, you know, that is inappropriate. So I appreciate your humor, and I appreciate your input and your insight. I really look forward to your videos. And I didn't ever listen to your lives until recently, and I've never been on one, which is probably why I'm so nervous. But I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you, and I appreciate your videos and what you do. And so over here in California, hopefully you have a lot more listeners. I'm sure you do, but yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Same to you now. Great call. Very good call. I didn't detect any nervousness. That was very good. All right. Let's get to some more calls here. The number to call you guys, 434-658-1220. There's also an email for Skype in the description. 504, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. It's Alien Spaceship.
All right, man. What's going on?
So I have some new information about, I was studying about the farms, the situation with the farms in the country, and I wanted to tell you about what's going on. So the companies, do you know the companies Knox and Pilgrims and Tyson, those food companies?
I know about Tyson, the food company.
Yes.
And the rest of them, I'm not really sure.
All right. So basically, China has been buying into them and has been taking control of them. And the meat, beef and whatnot and chickens, they have been taking over these companies, and they're sending a lot of the food to their country.
Okay.
Right. So, and also it's going to be harder. Things are going to get harder for us here with the food, with the beef and different things. And it's good for people to be as self-reliant with their, gardens and their local farmers as much as they can.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I was talking about that earlier because, if you're having foreign control of your food, and then also the food's already kind of shaky as it is, you definitely want to have control over your own production of food. Absolutely.
Right. Because they like to seize the means of production and they want revenge for what happened to them in the past. And also I have some friends in different, areas and stuff. And some people that were, higher ups of companies that are connected to Berkshire Hathaway are triggered at you because of the content you put out. So you're triggering a lot of the elitist liberals.
Well, hey, that's the goal. I see. That's the goal. I mean, if I'm doing that, I'm doing the right thing.
Exactly, because you're shaking their foundation and you're causing a great revolutionary fire, and that's good.
Right on.
And also, I saw this article on Twitter, and I was told Rebel Without a Reason about it. I sent an email about it. That basically, the government is going to monitor people that haven't gotten the vaccine when they go to the doctor in the hospitals. And he was thinking that it had to do with something in Australia. And I was like, no, it's here. And I think that's interesting, right? When they expose the vaccine and how it's not that good, and then they're going to monitor everybody. Because like my cousin that passed away, before he passed away, he was an anarchist and an activist. I'm not an anarchist, but I can understand why he didn't really trust the government. And he was exposing a lot of these things, and he was, saying that they would try to condition people to get used to using their touch, like you use your phone, your finger to activate something on your phone, or these things to prepare people to be used to a chip in their hand. That's what he, theorized. What do you think?
Yeah, I've seen that already because I think they have it all. Like, I don't know if it was a real thing, but I saw a video where they were displaying an Amazon, some kind of kiosk or some kind of hub where you just put your palm over the sensor and then you could pay that way. And I'm not sure if it recognizes your print of your palm, if that's some kind of a unique, or if you have something inside your hand where you could just put it on top of there and they'll recognize it. So yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause this chip, it's a small little chip. It's called, I could send you an article about it. It's called like CL something. It's a code. And they put it in the hand, like in the palm, like where the thumb is, like in the middle between the finger and the palm, in the thumb rather. And that's where it would go. And, people can be controlled that way. And Microsoft had a patent and has a patent rather to use human energy to mine cryptocurrency and stuff, and it has 666 in the title. So that's what I think is going on. A lot of this, these people are just trying to create a new caste system and try to get everybody subservient to it. And it's good that we're exposing it.
Absolutely. Right on.
Right. And also, I wanted to mention about the balloons. I really, in my opinion, I think it should have been shot down sooner.
Oh, definitely. Because they saw it when it came from China. As soon as it started to approach the U.S. and Alaska, the Aleutian Islands, at that point, you go ahead and shoot it down. Don't let it get into the interior. I mean, unless there's another purpose for them doing that benefits us, right. I don't see the reason why they would do that. Shoot it down right there, out in the water, and be done with it.
Right. I know if you had a rocket launcher, you would shoot it down, but all your guns got lost on the boat accident.
Well, there you go. Exactly. they're all lost at the bottom of the river. I don't have them anymore.
I know. It's you have to use the sticks and stones, and basically we all had different accidents because we were all kind of lousy at keeping our stuff together. But yeah, so and that's what I wanted to say, and I want to thank you so much for taking my call. Your content is amazing. Okay, goodbye.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. All right, great call. All righty, Les, what's going on?
Hey, ABL, how are you?
It's all good.
Oh my goodness, it's a good show so far.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And I want to say hi to the chat. We haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Yep.
Right. I'm gonna turn it off because I'm gonna go to my notes real quick. So sorry.
That's all good.
Alrighty. So I wanted to go ahead and comment on the whole what was that? The whole thing with AOC, the whole cringe thing.
Yes.
Okay, so it was so funny. You got the hands in the air, all the yelling, and I think there were crocodile tears. I didn't really see any tears streaming down, her face.
Yes.
But I thought that was hilarious. But I mean, we should not expect anything less from them just because of the simple fact that what did we used to call them? The squad, right? That's what President Trump used to always. That's their infamous name. President Trump gave them was the squad. So Absolutely. They have to stick together.
Yep. So whenever any of them have any kind of problems, they're going to pull out all the stops: fake crying, the fake preacher cadence, everything.
Right. And then you know what? I think it was a great idea taking down Ilhan Omar from her position, to be honest, from the committee. It was just too much conflict of interest. And I mean, in my humble opinion, ABL, this person has committed treason. And everybody, I mean, it's her personal life, right? But everybody understands that when Ilhan Omar, she was actually caught up with Project Veritas, with this whole voting fraud scandal where they were paying money in return for the votes, right?
Yeah, I think that was the ballot harvesting thing.
Yeah, that. And then let's not forget and I know it's a little bit about her personal life, but I want to make a quick point here. So Ilhan Omar, when she was caught up cheating, right, on her husband, she had told her husband that, she was going to pay him $250,000, something around that whole thing. The funny thing is that if we look at her salary as of about 2 years ago, this is what was recorded. So I don't know if it's changed, probably $174,000. So if anything, it is good that she got kicked off of the committee. But then yet again, there needs to be further investigation in regards to her, the monies, and everything else that goes along with it, with the whole ballot harvesting and all that good stuff. So I think it was good. But again, I mean, we couldn't expect anything else from the squad backing her up.
Oh, yeah, not at all. And, the thing about people like Ilhan Omar and all the rest of them, their salary, that's like being a waitress getting paid a salary. Your real money comes from the tips. That's how they actually earn a living.
Right. And then the funny thing is that she doesn't do anything. That's the funny part, like they don't do anything. If anything, they're just further destroying their communities. And it's like, well, In reality, where are they to serve we the people? And let's not forget her infamous quote that some people did something. So that tells it all.
Exactly.
That, and then the whole balloon thing, it is insane, ABL. I could look at it both ways, okay? I could look at it in the sense of the way maybe this is just some test to see what the American people would say this is just brought to you by the Biden administration. Or in reality, what it is and what it was called, what it was actually labeled. And this is from the Pentagon press secretary, that it was a flying spying object, balloon from China. So it answers all of our questions, but this is something that we already all knew, that in reality, this current administration and who are they in bed with, and who they owe their loyalty and their alliance with, which is China. Because don't you think if this object was here in the US doing whatever it was doing, spying, whatever, and I'm sure it was collecting a lot of sensitive data, or whatever the case was, why wouldn't they shoot it down? I mean, and then they want to come out here, this administration wants to come out here and say, oh no, there's no harm to the American people. Well, how is that if it's flying around, very sensitive areas in the US, collecting God knows what, type of information? And how is that not causing any harm to the US, to the US citizens, ABI? I don't get it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but they will tell us whatever they want us to know, and the things really doing behind closed doors will always remain behind closed doors. That's how they want to operate.
Right, and it's very unfortunate, but like I said, I can look at it honestly two ways, and I'm only saying this because, again, of the narrative that the left wants to continue stirring up, and everything that they have to continue, you get me, like hiding behind closed doors, because they're operating behind closed curtains on whatever is it that they're doing, behind our backs, the American people's backs. But they have to push out, obviously, a distraction. So I can look at it both ways. I'm not really sure where I stand on this topic. But as far as everything, honestly, ABO, with what you've presented and all the other articles and videos that I have watched, there is no doubt in my mind that this was China spying. And that's what I was gonna get to last. Think about it. And this is for everybody to kind of, like, you get me, like, it's a food for thought, right? If it was Russia, spying balloon, right? Do you think that this administration would have had shot it down the moment it would have had landed on U.S. soil?
Oh yeah, that would have been right away. It wouldn't have made it anywhere if it was from Russia. Instantly. I mean, we're over there in Ukraine trying to fight them through Ukraine. So anything that came from them, we would have shot down right away.
Exactly. So again, then that proves my point. In reality, where does this current administration's loyalty and alliance, in reality, side with? It's China. So I mean, that says it all. But I just wanted to say those two things. And ABL, good thing I don't like nothing to do with seafood. So that whole thing that you were showing with the fish, it's disgusting. But I was like, oh, good thing we don't eat all that stuff anyway.
There you go. Exactly.
Alrighty, ABL. Well, I want to wish you a wonderful night. It was a magnificent show again, by far. So you outdo yourself every single time. And I want to wish, God bless you. God bless the chat. And the little patriots want to say hello and good night. 1 second. Let me turn this thing on. 1 minute. Let me turn it around, ABL. Sorry. There we go. Let's say good night, guys.
Bye, y'all. Good night.
Alrighty, guys. Good night. Take care of you.
All right, now. Same to you.
Bye.
All right. Great call. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up if you have not done so yet. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Let's go to the next call here. 602. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
You are speaking to Lena Means.
I'm speaking to who now?
Hi, ABL. How are you?
It's all good. About yourself?
Pretty good. ABL, this is Debbie from Maricopa County.
Okay, before we start, turn the stream off in the background for me, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot.
It's all good.
How do Carrie Lake's gonna do
As far as what?
as far as winning the governorship?
Carrie Lake, she lost, didn't she?
She lost, but she's been fighting it. You didn't know that?
Well, I've been seeing her fight. I'm not
all the way to the Supreme Court.
Oh, like, are you asking me? Do I think if she'll succeed in her fight?
Right.
I mean, I don't really know. It's gonna be kind of a long shot. It's possible, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, because you know what, ABL, it was true what they said on the news or whatever. If anybody doesn't believe it, I was one of those people who was disabled, and I had a mail-in ballot, and I wanted to take it in myself on the day that Trump and everybody told us to, and I had to go to 3 different places. One was like a 4-hour line. The other one was like a 2-hour line. And then the last one, this lady had a box inside her office, and she told me that it'd be safe. I don't even know if it's safe or not, because I put it in the box.
Okay.
So they're cheating us. How can we stop it?
Well, I'm not really sure. Like, that's kind of a broad question. I mean, I feel like the best way to approach anything like that is to get at it on a local level. Just get out there and get the community together to fight against whatever is happening that shouldn't be happening.
I know. It's happening everywhere in every state, and I hate it. It just is awful. But anyway, I just have one more question.
All righty.
Last time I called, I asked you about property in Tennessee, and you told me in the East. And because I'm from Arizona, and that Katie Hobbs is trying to turn us into, you know what. Anyway, so I've been looking in the East and stuff, but I wanted to get like a lot of property. Where could I get the most property in the East?
Anywhere that's a smaller place. Like, for example, Knoxville is a city, obviously, but if you go outside of Knoxville, some of the surrounding areas, maybe even as far as a place like Crossville, or getting close to that area, the further out you go, you're able to get more property the further out you go. If you get closer to a city, you're going to have, it's not going to be as much property. So just be far out. Or prime example, like Chattanooga, if you're close to here and you go to like a Dunlap or Saudi Daisy, somewhere like that, further out, like 45 minutes out from the city center, you could get a lot of property.
Yeah, and some is pretty reasonable, I've been noticing. But, I just want a lot of property, I guess, because, I don't know, I want to hide from them, I guess. And, I lost my guns in a boating accident, too, so that's really funny that we, both lost our guns the same way. But, yeah, my son-in-law did a Brody in the water, and they just went flying out. Anyway, I love you bunches, and I hope you keep up the good work because you're just excellent, and we all love you.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, the best way to get any kind of property, if you want like a lot of property, you want a lot of space, you got to be far away. Personally, I don't like being far away like that. I like being close to a city, but I like being close to a small city. I like living in a small city. Like where I live right now is a small city, but it's great because I got proximity to big cities. Like I don't want to necessarily live in a place like Atlanta or maybe even a Nashville. Nashville better than Atlanta, really. Like Nashville, it's like, how can I explain it? Nashville is smaller than Atlanta, but it's a big city still. But nowhere near, it's not on a level. Atlanta, it's like Nashville is to Atlanta as, what's a good comparison? Miami is to New York City. That's probably a good comparison. New York City, the scale of it is just, it's out of control. Miami's big too, but not on the level of a New York City. Atlanta is more like a New York, but it's just spread out. It's like what they say is like a New York with space. That's kind of how that works. But the number to call is 434-658-1220. All right. 100K size city is perfect. Exactly, Brickyard. 4738, pardon me. If you're living in a place that has 1 million people in it crammed together, like LA or more, it's just too much. Or try going to China, live in one of them mega cities. Oh, it's a nightmare. Nightmare. Can't do nothing with it. 760, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Chris.
All right, man. What's happening?
Yeah, not a whole lot. Just wanted to call in and speak about the Chinese spy balloon that that we're all talking about. I guess where I wanted to start at is just it's not the spying that really bothered me. I mean, because we spy on them, they spy on us. But I guess it's just how brazen they were in the spying is what bothered me. I don't know if you know or not, but there's a YouTube channel called Shanghai Eye. It's one of the CCP's mouthpieces among many of them. YouTube even has the disclaimer on there that it's funded in part by the CCP. They said in one of the videos on there that the U.S. has the master keys to the internet, that we can enter into any device and leave the device without the user even knowing that we had entered into the device. So just again, just to reiterate, it wasn't really the spying that bothered me. It's just how brazen it was.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then the thing about it is the whole world sees it. So it's not just us here in America, it's the whole world. And then people are looking like, hey, that's very brazen. What are you guys going to do? And then we don't respond until it's outside of the country. It's already done the mission. It looks very bad.
Well, I don't think that it's us responding to them. I think it's more of them responding to us, because I don't know if you remember a long time ago. Do you remember a story about North Korea selling 1 million artillery rounds to Russia?
I do remember that. Yes.
How do we know that? How do we know that? Do we have a 007 James Bond in the CCP right next to Xi Jinping? Do we have a 007 guy in the North Korea camp? I don't think so. No, I think that we're hacking their devices, or not necessarily their devices, but the people, their extended people, right? So maybe the cleaner that goes in there, people that don't have secure devices. So I mean, and then these governments are seeing what they did the night before in American news the next day. Of course, they're going to have to use, whatever they use to get around the censorship in their countries. I forget what it's called, but no, yeah. I mean, we spy on them all the time, and it's brazen from us to them. I can see it myself as a U.S. citizen, So it's kind of like tit for tat. But yeah, you nailed it a few weeks ago in the Xi Jinping Justin Trudeau video that you did about saying that, when he got hemmed up by Xi Jinping and he walked out of the room with his tail tucked between his legs. Yeah. You nailed it on the head. You said they care about their image, and they do. And, they're very calculated people. So this, for me, you nailed it right there. This was an image for them. It definitely wasn't by accident. They're definitely spying on us. But I think it was, if you don't think that we don't know what Xi Jinping ate this morning or yesterday, you got another thing coming. We certainly do, So, and it's just, we see it. We're the top dogs, right? We're the U.S. We have the most powerful military on earth. They have the second most powerful military on earth, and we're taking the position that you can't do this to us because we're powerful. And but we do spy on every country in the world, and we really do. But and we do it brazenly too, And and they know that because they see what they did the night before in newspapers. So. And then just last thing, and I appreciate you taking my call too. Just the last thing I wanted to talk on is the CFCs and the ozone you were mentioning earlier. And one of the other callers pointed it out that he didn't know about it either. I didn't know about New York and the whole Al Gore thing. That was a good point. But there's still spray paint in stores. You can go buy spray paint right now that just doesn't have CFCs in it, and you can do graffiti, even though don't do that. But Yeah, and just for the record, I failed chemistry in high school and in college. I'm not a history guy, but I have read into CFCs a little bit, and I do believe the science that's presented in front of me that it's either the chlorine or the fluoride that bonds with one of the oxygen molecules on ozone that depletes our ozone layer. So I've actually looked at it, and I agree with it. I'm not completely bought into the whole climate change. But I do believe that that we can try to keep this place as good as we can for as long as we can. The fate, Earth's fate is already decided. It's going to be destroyed by the sun. But still, that doesn't mean that we can just trash this place, for the next billions of years or however long it takes the sun to turn into a red dwarf or red giant, whatever they call it, and gobble up Earth. But but yeah, I do believe the whole thing about the CFCs. I think that's settled science, so to speak. But yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for taking my call, ABL.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right, thanks.
All right, shout out to the caller. Let's go to 651. The line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Stacy from Minnesota.
All righty, what's going on?
Well, I just wanted to talk to you about how wrong our government is. I mean, I was raised as an Army brat, and I've been very, very proud of our country all the way up until the last few years. I really think we should probably take a look at other things that have happened in history as well that have been lied to us about, not just about the current today, but what's been happening. If you can't find somebody who is responsible, but like behind the smoking gun, then it's probably us behind the smoking gun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's very disheartening because, like I said, I was an Army brat and very, very patriotic and proud of my country and everything like that. But it's very disheartening lately, and I feel like I don't understand how we can have so much friction at the same time. We're in like this utopia of thinking that we're like this brave and powerful United States. My mother passed away in 2021. She ended up having degenerative discs in her back. She got okayed to have surgery. Long story short, she was supposed to come home, but the nursing home she was in ended up getting COVID. Well, she beat the COVID. She's on 2 of 3 surgeries that she was supposed to have, and didn't make it to have the third one. I don't know why, but it seems fishy to me since the COVID, and then she was vaccinated and all that good stuff. But she was supposed to come home. That was the bottom line, and because she had COVID, or I don't know. We'll probably never know because she's no longer here. Can't ask her anything, and I feel like that's really bad when other people are in my same position where they've lost a parent or a loved one, and yeah, they might have had comorbidities, and yeah, they might have been 60-something years old, but that doesn't mean they were supposed to die then. That's not excusable. Just because they had those comorbidities and they were old didn't mean that they were supposed to die. Or it's okay, or it's an excuse, and then they just, think of something else. Just go on as usual of this life, and that's not right. So, anyway, thank you very much for hearing all that, and have a good night.
Thank you for your call. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Shout out to the caller. Prayers out to her. I felt that. I definitely felt that. 909, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All righty.
This is Larry calling from Arizona.
All righty. What's going on?
Well, part of my problem is I guess I'm just too old. I remember the 50s. And at that point in time, if a Chinese balloon or anybody else's balloon would have entered American airspace, no matter where it was, it would have been immediately dealt with. Right. I don't understand how our government can justify allowing this thing to fly all over our country. It just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The whole thing about, oh, well, it might fall and hit people. I mean, that was a bogus excuse, because there is plenty of space. There is plenty of space in America where there's not people. And then even if you don't want to shoot it down over land, you saw it before it got to mainland, like lower 48. You saw it in the Aleutian Islands. Shoot it down right there. It's in U.S. It's in the maritime space, in the airspace. Go ahead and shoot it down. So this was just a ridiculous thing overall.
Oh, absolutely. It was just smoke and mirrors. That's all it was. And I'm getting kind of tired of the way that they're under the impression that they can lead us all around by the nose, and we'll just follow them. And another thing, the squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hillary Clinton accused everybody of being stupid on more than one occasion. And I think she may be just about right. Because how stupid can you be to vote people like the squad into federal office? They are totally incompetent. They have no idea what they're doing. And their agenda is to try to ruin the entire system, to try to put everybody under the rule of socialism and government takeover of everything. And how can people vote for that? I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think people at a certain point have been demoralized to think that that's the right thing to vote for, the right way to be. So they don't really know any better, unfortunately.
Well, I guess that's a possibility that I hadn't thought of. Yeah. It's just, I watch the TV. I watch my TV with a Roku device. So I watch a lot of different channels, YouTube and Newsmax and America's Voice and, all these other different channels. And everybody's got a fix for what the problem is, but they haven't been able to identify the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is people just don't care. They're not willing to do their own homework. They're not willing to do their own research. They just want to go along and make their nickels and dimes and live their life with as few problems as possible. And I can understand that, but what they don't understand is that they're gonna live their lives right into oblivion and take the rest of us along with them.
That's right.
It's I don't know. All I can say is I enjoyed the 50s a heck of a lot more than I'm enjoying the 20s.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
Well, you have a good evening, and shout out to all the people that are in the chat. There's some interesting chats in there.
Oh yeah, always a great and very interesting chat for sure.
Okay, we'll speak to you again in the future.
All righty, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Let's go to 512. You know the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got you. I just wanted to say that I think maybe Biden had something to do with it, because if he has secret paperwork and China has him in their pocket, and then they told him he could shoot it down after it got over the U.S. They didn't need it anymore. They told him it was okay. They got all the information they needed. He can shoot it down now. They didn't need it up in the air anymore.
That's definitely a possibility for sure.
And I really appreciate your show. You're such an intelligent man, and me and my daughter watch you all the time.
Well, thank you for that. I definitely appreciate your support and for your kind words. Thank you for that.
So thank you for even discussing it, because no one else does. And I really think that the corruption has gotten out of control, that our border is not safe and our skies aren't safe. And as American people, we work hard to pay our taxes. We help other countries, and our borders should be secure, especially with helping, other countries. That's why we send them money, so that they help their own people, so that they don't pour into our country. Our homeless aren't treated as good as the people pouring over our border. Okay, and we're talking homeless vets, homeless people that have paid taxes before, and they're just having a bad time. And we don't even help them, put them in a hotel where they can throw a fit and say it's not good enough.
Right.
So thank you.
Well, thank you for your calling and support. I definitely appreciate it. No problem. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Very good call. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you have heard so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. This is also a podcast you're listening to right now, being recorded live on the YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube right now, thank you for that. Give me a thumbs up. Also, if you are listening on an audio streaming platform, please give me a 5-star rating or review, whatever you can. I most certainly appreciate you there. And if you don't know where the audio streaming version is, please go to the link in the bio and search, go to the links in the bio there, and also go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. 929 on the line. How am I speaking to?
Anthony, how you doing?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Yes, man. I mean, we should talk about the anti-white racism in this country. You do see the news that a black man who murdered a daughter who is 58 years old, and he has 2 children. So that black guy murdered a white daughter, and also.
I mean, was it racial, or was it just so happened to be that he was black and the guy was white?
Racial.
But is there evidence? Wait a minute, is there evidence for that? Because I saw the story. So what happened? The story you're talking about was in California. This the white doctor's on a bicycle riding, and then black guy, I think he's black, looks black. He was in a vehicle. He hit him on the bike, and he got out and stabbed him. But did they say there was anything about race involved?
Well, I read Daily Mail UK, and it said that he called the racial slur white privilege.
Okay. I see. I got you.
Yes, man. I mean, we have talked about that. And also, we have to talk it out to, for example, the critical race theory. That theory is a communist Marxist theory to discriminate against the white American and white children, saying they are the one who are the aggressor, kind of like that. And also, they claiming like black cannot be racist. And you can be racist to white people, and we see why we saw the number of him. We see why we saw the assault crime and the murder crime increased because of that cause and effect told by the Democrat and the news media. And also the Marxist activists. We have to mention about that. It is important.
Okay.
Yes, but unfortunately, the Republican Party, also I call the Republican Party.
Well, you can't. Come on. You can't say that stuff on the. You got to use clean language on the show.
Sorry about that. I mean, the GOP body is a spineless body. They are the one who vote to pass the respect for the government laws, $1 trillion to increase the inflation, and also money for the Zelensky money launches, the gun control. So of course they are spy labs. They do not dare to speak out the anti-white racism in these countries. Not only that, they are the reason why causes the hate crime against the Asian Americans. If you look at the statistics and the police county report, it shows that majority of the criminals who commit hate crime against Asians are Black Americans, and it is based on facts and evidence.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. The reason why that's not spoken about is because it does not yield success. Because if you talk about anti-white racism, what's going to happen is you're going to have white people that think you're racist for bringing it up. Then you're going to have other liberals of other races think the same thing. So you're not going to have success with that. It's just, and one thing I'm going to say before I got to close up here, Trump in 2020 won in every other racial group except for white males. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the whole thing about being racist, it doesn't really work except for on whites. If you're trying to gain the population to vote for you the most, that method is not going to work. And it's not going to be because you're going to lose a minority vote. You're going to lose the white vote, which is the majority. So it makes no sense. That's why they don't talk about it for real.
Well, Anthony, still to date, the ones who vote for the population, the majority population who vote for Republican parties is white population, especially the white man American who vote for them.
Exactly, and that's my whole point. That's the whole point. It's like if you lose that group, you see what I'm saying? You can't. You want to focus on your base. Like you can't lose that. Even if you gain in other groups, if you lose in the white male vote, you got a problem because that's going to be your biggest base. But thank you for the call, man. I gotta go. Thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Yes, let go, Brandon, and the short must flow.
Thank you for the call. All right, that will be a wrap. For tonight. You guys have been great. Always a good show. I'll be back live again on Wednesday of next week. And of course, I'm here all throughout the week, Monday through Saturday, putting out pre-recorded content. Y'all get a video thumbs up if you've not done so yet. And thank you to everybody that's been here, watching, retweeting, super chatting, sharing, whatever you're doing. Thank you. Couldn't do it without you. And I got some super chats to read right here. Then I put on up, put the bow on top. Thank you to the mods for keeping the trolls nice in check. Seriously, could not do this show without you guys. You make this show so much more easy to operate and maneuver. All righty. So let's go ahead and go to the supers. Where did I leave off? I'm not really sure. Excuse me. Thank you to. All right. I think I left right here. Thank you to Danesco who says, hi, ABL, from your French buddy from Guadeloupe. Shout out to you. Au revoir, bon nuit, all that good stuff. So, yeah, shout out to you, boss. F Ranger Xbox says the ozone layer is replenished because the generation of electricity creates ozone. Also, I have the farmer's adjuster coming to their house because I dropped an egg in the kitchen this morning. Right. Yeah, you're talking about $1 million right there on the ground, huh? Also, F Ranger Xbox says a balloon can drop altitude-specific virus bombs. Very interesting. Alien Spaceship says, do you think there will be more balloons? Yes, there's already more. It was already one in Central America. As at the same time, the one in North America was floating around. Well, not North America. Like Central America is North America. It was one in Central America, like by, I think it was like Guatemala, Honduras, down there. Like not quite Venezuela, Panama, but right there. And then there was one in the U.S. But North America is Canada, U.S., Mexico. Central America, a region, not a continent. I had to just tell myself that so I didn't misspeak and say Antarctica again when I shouldn't be. Anyway, thank you to J.R. Williams, who says, what are your thoughts on the fake stream news blackout of the balloon shot down over Billings when it supposedly made it to the Atlantic? Now, I don't know what that was that got shot down over Billings. Was it another balloon? Because there was something that got shot down over Billings, Montana. I don't know what that was, though, so I can't necessarily comment on that. I don't know what that was. That was something, though, but I don't know. I don't have that information. But that's a good point that you make there. All right, so I think that'll be a wrap for me. You guys have been great, but until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out, and peace.